Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet here with my good friend Cory. We're welcoming in the new Regulation H.
I'm Paul's friend.
Huh? Wait, who are you?
I said, hi, I'm Paul's friend.
That doesn't answer the question.
Yeah,
so, avoiding answering the question, really.
Yeah, I'm certainly not a world-renowned thought criminal Y-Rock. Kind of guy who brings Riolu to a regional and then complains about Incineroar. Couldn't be me.
The kind of guy who brings up Repliku whenever he can.
Listen, Repliku is a good character.
Listen, I'll pay the tax to the Repliku jar this time. Okay. Also disagree, but you know.
Well, it's like, are we talking Repliku 3 or Repliku...
Okay, shut the fuck up, first off. Second off, there's a case to be made that the character is interesting from a perspective of looking at, like, character writing, but there's also a case to be made that the character muddles down the series that it doesn't need any more fucking muddling than it already has.
I think the most interesting thing about Repliku is that we had to talk about it. Okay, let's set up a Yum Yum circle.
Catching a Schnivy right now. Which I apparently have never seen before in this game. A Schnivy.
Ooh.
You escaped my ball.
Let me know when you're ready to form a group.
That will kill it instantly. Don't I have a fucking... He's not on my team, is he? Oh, okay. I'll just kill you. You are dead.
Very fair.
You're Schnivy.
One thing that is really funny about being like on VGC Twitter when you're not like actively participating in a format very much is that you can see in real time like things like moving like quickly and you're just like, man, I'm not even caught up yet. Like, there hasn't even been an official Regulation H event yet, and you're already seeing people like, man, I'm sick of this format.
Going, Annihilate, fucking Torkoal cut it out.
Like, listen, the fact that we get to play with Annihilate again is a treasure. You keep that in your heart and you love it.
Incineroar will rue the day that Annihilate made his comeback. Incineroar no longer the top seed. He's like the third instead.
Is Incineroar washed? It's like, I don't know, man. He's still at like, what, at least 60% usage? What do you mean washed?
I'll never trust the competitive community after them like super glazing like Incineroar's fucking he's out at the beginning of fucking Scarlet and Violet. Oops.
That was literally wishful thinking and nothing else.
All I can say is congrats to Rillaboom for taking the top seed for no no reason of his own.
Honestly, Scarlet and Violet Rillaboom is he's such a Pokemon, right? Like you put him on your team and you never feel bad about it. You're just like, yep, I got my Rillaboom.
Yeah.
Oh, are you gonna form a group or do you want my code?
I will join you.
Okay. Hurry before all my viewers snipe the code.
No, I didn't want to click Terror Raid Battle. It's okay, I have an ad break for another minute.
Oh, I'm in the middle of an ad break right now. Ad break is ended. Your community is back.
Yeah, I like how they actually they fixed the issues, some of the issues I had with the ad break stuff. Because for a while I was like, I'm not using ad break anymore because I was like, kind of useless. But they fixed the issues that I had with it that made me kind of against it. So I'm back on the ad break train. Yeah, you can now do like actual custom, like how long it is and where it is and that kind of thing.
That's cool.
So it's a lot better.
So is that mass exodus from YouTube streaming back to Twitch real?
I have no idea what you're even talking about.
I heard there was like a mass exodus.
You just said, do it.
Oh yeah, PK M6 HJ.
Huh?
Are you connected?
What are you doing? What are you doing to those Pokemon?
Listen. She PK fire my MI6 till I high jump kick. All right.
Literally, the code is Pokemon 6 hand job.
Hand job. And we're getting that off the screen before Twitch comes for me. It's only the Pokemon that should be doing that, not Twitch. Huh?
But I digress. Ugh. Hey, how's it going?
Whoa, welcome to Blueberry Academy, where your berries are blue and your academy's batamy.
Wow. There are mass outbreaks occurring. Did you know?
I did.
When I come onto your thing, do my outbreaks change to yours?
I don't know.
Let's see. Do you have Poiple, Duolingo, Chestnut, and that's it on this map?
Let's see. I have Chespin, Solosis, and Poplio.
Yeah. Okay. So you got the point that I.
Yeah.
You understand it. It's perfect.
The only one I was missing was Duolingo because I was looking for Rowlet.
No, I was referring to Dulosis or whatever its evolved form is.
Duosion is the middle.
Yes. I'm never good with names. I was thinking, because I was looking at the regulation H, like, what Schmogan says is good and stuff right now, and like their rankings.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, what is the list of, like, because there's some mons from this generation that I really like their design, but obviously they're like, they don't make the cut, you know, Skull Villain looking at you.
Yeah, oh. Man, I do want to build Sun.
Unfortunately, some teams suck balls, but but what am I thinking of? I was looking at some of the mons that like have been forgotten already from this generation, and I'm like, what the fuck is a fucking the Verizome? I want to say Verizion, but that's that's not...
Iron Leaves.
No. I'm talking about the fish with the spikes on it.
Oh, Veluza.
Yeah, I saw that and was like, what
Man,
the hell?
they did Veluza. So dirty.
Like, I don't even remember this one.
They gave it like no bulk, a setup move that requires bulk, friggin' no speed.
Yeah, I was just looking through the list and I was like, it's actually wild that I completely forgot this mod exists.
I think about Veluza a lot just because it makes me mad.
Yeah. What about it makes you mad?
Veluza deserved better.
Oh, I mean fair. But actually tells me what quests you completed now. It didn't always do that, right? Like I'm just forgetting.
I think it was doing that before.
I may be stupid.
Oh, you can't do stuff that's underwater.
That's not what I want. That's not what I want. There we go. Oh, hey, we can do a Terra raid battle.
Oh yeah, let's do it. We want to go look for the 7-star Incineroar raid?
Is it increased shiny chance?
Nope, it's just hard.
Yeah.
How about no?
I was thinking about, like, as I watch a couple of Pokemon creators, and one of them's like a shiny hunter. And he's like, man, shiny hunting in Scarlet Violet's just like actually broken. Because like because of the whatever the hell they're called, the Herba Mystica.
Yeah.
And how fast you can use them to just like get stuff. That was your Volcarona. I was like, why is there a Volcarona here?
Oh yeah, Volcarona just after jail time.
But I'm like, man, I feel bad because my ass ain't got no Herba Mysticas.
Oh yeah, because you have to actually do raids for those.
Raids for those shits, and I'm like, So like I could just hop on and have a grand old time getting some shinies in this game, but then I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do raids.
They give you like 5 free Herba Mystica every season if you're in a Master Ball tier.
Clueless. Yeah, I'll just get my low kick steam real quick. Those are the memes I've been enjoying, is the fucking low kicks being the Am I Mask of OU, essentially. It just keeps all the other mons out.
I do love low kicks. I have not, man. I probably should play some singles at some point, but I just have felt zero desire.
Right.
I can barely keep up with VGC right now.
It's one of those things where it's like if you're out of it, you take awe of how quickly it goes by. It's like anime seasonal. Like it's like I could not give less than a shit about seasonal anime, and every time I see it like mentioned, it's like, this is my 7th show this season, and I think it's rates 6 out of 10 on the fucking something scale. I don't even know. Like the meme drops off because I'm not even in the culture anymore. You know, I'm out of the culture.
Yeah. Everything moves so fast.
So quick. But since I mentioned my mask, let's start off this great topic of conversation with One Punch Man. Have you been keeping up with One Punch Man?
I have not. Has there been more webcomics?
So no. So there's so the manga. So you know how they had to rewrite the ninja arc or whatever. Like
yes, I heard. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I heard that he was doing that.
Okay, so there's something going on in the community right now where a lot of people are pissed, and I'll explain it to you because it's fucking funny.
Okay.
So the ninja arc was going through. As we know, the ninja arc in the webcomic is like a quick little, like, kind of joke arc that kind of explores a little bit more on Flashy Flash and Sonic, their relationship, and then it ends with a joke where Saitama just one punches the enemy. It's a classic little arc in between major arcs.
Yeah.
In the manga,
it's fantastic.
In the manga, as the manga tries to do, it tries to up the stakes, make God involved, make Blast involved. The manga is it's a difficult beast to put into words because it's something that doesn't feel as tightly designed, basically. Like, it feels like they're winging the
Yeah.
manga a lot more than they're winging the webcomic.
Webcomic.
So, but anyway, and you can tell this because like a lot of their stuff gets rewritten usually after like a week by week them writing it. Like a lot of the Saitama versus Gyro stuff got rewritten. A lot of the Monster Association art got rewritten. And this ninja arc got rewritten pretty much from the ground up because they weren't happy with the way the story was going, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. I'm not in the mind of One and Murata. But clearly it wasn't going the way they wrote it, so they rewrote it. And then after they were rewriting it, they left us off on a cliffhanger right before the big confrontation between Blast and the old Ninja Master, which is like now revealed to be his old friend, which we knew in the webcomic, but a little more stakes there with Blast actually fighting him. But right as he went to do that, Murata, the artist, went to take a 2-month like vacation. So right before this fight, and then they came back about a month ago. But One Punch Man is now on a bi-weekly release, so it's every other week it releases. So we've had 2 chapters since then. Neither of them have been a continuation of the ninja arc, and have instead just started going into Neo Heroes. So people are kind of pissed.
What? What? Oh my! Wait, really?
So after a 2-month break, they're back for a month with only 2 chapters, and none of them are on the ninja arc final battle that they left the cliffhanger off on after having to redo the arc because they obviously weren't happy with it. So the community's a little mad right now. And it's really funny because every manga and anime community has like the 2 sides, the lovers and the haters. They got the people that really enjoy the series and are on like the like if you're on Reddit you can determine it because there's like a side that's like on the main Reddit for the series, and then there's a side that's on like the folk Reddit for the series, which is like Titan folk for Attack on Titan and so on and so forth. So those are like the haters, but they still like either hate watch it or they like the series, but they just don't like the way it's heading and that kind of thing. Pirate folks like the One Punch Man alternative, One Piece alternative. Sorry, but I don't even know the name of the One Punch Man one, but it's funny because so obviously they're big haters, and then the One Punch Man Reddit like loves it. But with these kind of 2 chapters with the Neo Heroes being introduced, it's kind of been an inverse where the main the main fan base has been like super angry, like why are we not getting a continuation of Blast versus the Ninja Master, and the folk subreddit has been like, let's go, we're going into Neo Heroes, get rid of that shit, we don't care about it. It's so funny seeing the kind of inverse.
That is very funny. Yeah, so I guess those just haven't been translated yet because they're not on the Jump app.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think the last one just released like a couple days ago, and it got a fan translation. And then the one before that was about 2 weeks ago, so I guess Jump just hasn't translated that one yet. But
yeah, I guess that's weird. I felt like they were only like or no, I think they always were a little bit behind with the One Punch Man one. But
yeah,
that is very funny.
It's like the one of them was like, it was like Siryu and explaining how manga Siryu gets into Neo Heroes because he's a little different from webcomic Siryu.
Yeah,
I mean,
very different.
Yeah, it was explaining how instead of joining the Hero Association, which he definitely would as a character, he ended up joining the New Heroes. Spoiler alert. It's because he saw Weapons Gazia and was like, ooh, pretty lady, and got suckered into it, basically. Which is just, it's fantastic. We take that.
I love that, actually. It's like, how do you make him do this when he's already had his character arc? Well, you just get there.
And then the next chapter has just been introducing all the Neo Hero leaders, basically. And people are just like, why are we not finishing off the ninja arc before doing this? But I think some people had an idea that maybe they're going to introduce Blue first, try to get him introduced into the manga, and then go back to the Blast versus his friend fight.
That would make sense.
A narrative thing, but it's just kind of weird for them to have taken this 2-month break to come back and after
Yeah.
they've already done rewrites, and like people are just like, what the fuck?
So they've already done the rewrites?
Yeah, this is the end of the
Okay.
rewrites basically, and they just need to do like the final
Okay.
confrontation, and they just are now doing new hero introductions, and people are like, what the fuck is happening? So it's kind of funny.
I wonder which version is on the Jump app right now. Like, I wonder if they update that or when. I'll need to look into that.
Mm-hmm. But the only issue I have with it, other than that, is funnily enough, Webin Gajia, or however you pronounce her name, the way she was introduced in the web comic was she was introduced as like a foil to a My Mask after it had been revealed that a My Mask was kind of a monster. And she was like she was introduced already like in a state where she was like very vitriolic and like annoyed and like mad that he had become a monster and that she couldn't beat him like on a hero terms. So now with her introduction in the manga, where it's not like she's just a generic idol lady who doesn't have any motivations, it feels like in her introduction in the manga, besides just being a strong hero, and it's like, well, and she doesn't like have that creepy factor that she had in the webcomic, where it's like every time she's on screen, it feels like she's an absolute creep. So it's like, it's just weird. It's like I feel like her introduction specifically gets kind of neutered by the fact that they're introducing them before that kind of happens.
Oh, yeah.
It's like all the other ones, it's like fine, they don't really need that specific thing, but her specifically is like she relies so much on the My Mask arc to make her character. So it's kind of weird that it's happening now, I guess.
Yeah. Oh boy, I cannot wait to see that arc drawn, though.
Yes. Hopefully, here's my hopes. It won't be as muddled as the Monster Association one was. Because by the end of the Monster Association in the manga, I was almost like, all right, let's fucking wrap this shit up. Come on.
I remember that, so my friend Doug, when I first talked to him about how I was reading One Punch Man, he sent me like this long, angry message about how much he hates it, the manga, and that he doesn't read it anymore because apparently the way he said it was that the author had taken a break to do rewrites or redraws in like the middle of that arc, like the middle of a super suspenseful part, to like redraw the part where a My Mask was getting beat up or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was so infuriated at that wasted time that he just refused to read any more of the manga.
That wasn't even the most egregious rewrite of that arc. Let's not even talk about the Garu Saitama sitting down to have a chat, and then they were like, actually, next chapter, we're just going to get rid of that. Forget about that one. Which is sad, because I think I have a lot of issues, like, in retrospect, after thinking about it some more, with the Monster Association. Not even the Monster Association itself, but, like, obviously pacing was, like, an issue with that, in my opinion. Like, the Orochi fight, the Orochi, Psycho Orochi, whatever, fight shouldn't have been that fucking long, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But, like, even with pacing, that's not really my main issue with it. My main issue with it is, it feels like Garu and Saitama is trying to say something completely different from what the webcomic was trying to say. Which was, like, in the webcomic, it was Garu, no matter how hard he tries, no matter how much skill he has, it's never going to match up to the latent talent of Saitama, and that's, like, always going to be a barrier for him, and, like, there's no way he's going to overcome it, no matter how hard he tries, no matter how much he grows as, like, a monster and becomes stronger, he's just going to continue getting weaker compared to Saitama. Where in the manga, it's like, first off, like, here's God. Why do we have to have God in here? It feels like it muddies the kind of motivations a bit. But even besides that, it's like the weird thing where it's like Garu became stronger than Saitama at the beginning of the fight, but they both were growing exponentially, and it's like, this is so weird. Like, this is something that doesn't need to be explained, and, like, extrapolated upon, because it's like we don't. Even if this were true, it kind of like muddies because it's saying that Garu could have been stronger than Saitama at a point, and it's like that completely negates like the arc that he had in the webcomic. And then there's also him literally copying Saitama's power as Cosmic Garu, and it's like, okay, well, that's like the whole point of the webcomic was he couldn't copy Saitama because there was nothing to copy from Saitama, because there was no like nothing that Saitama was doing. He was just super powerful. Like, he couldn't copy him.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't doing a technique or anything, but in the manga, it's just like, yeah, he copies him and takes his power, and he's very strong. It's like, no, that's completely negates the point of what was being set up in the webcomic, which was that he literally couldn't copy him. Like, I don't know. It just felt weird to me on like retrospect on rereading it, and I was like, they really like, it felt like they weren't trying to tell the same story from the webcomic, and that's really weird to me. Like, it felt like they were just trying something else, and it didn't land nearly as hard because the webcomic one is like so executed like perfectly.
Yeah, the webcomic one is so like so intentional. Where I think a big part of like a big part of what I don't like about the manga version, which I still, like a lot, obviously, but it feels like it's really unwilling to just, like, let its characters be a-holes.
Yeah, that's another big thing.
Because like, they are. Every single one of them.
Like, the characters in the manga and the webcomic are completely different characters, like, at this point. Like, Tatsumaki is not the same character in the webcomic that she is in the manga. Like, in the webcomic, she's this, like, annoyed little gremlin that hates everything and, like, has had a completely shit life, and, like, there's no other way to, like, put it. And then in the manga, she's, like, tsundere. Like, that's the best way to put it.
Yep, that's it.
And it's
all
like,
you have to say.
We I don't know. We can have the characters be assholes, and the point of those characters being assholes is they, funnily enough, despite the fact that they're like aggravated assholes, that they're written like purposely like that, they feel more human almost in the webcomic, where it's like they feel like a real person would be like this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We don't have to get to the boys level where like they're actual criminals. The superheroes are actual criminals, but like a real superhero would be like up their own ass and like an asshole all the time, and like, and it feels genuine in like the way they do it and the way they have like different spectrum of assholes, and it makes it feel even more like awesome when that character then like gets over something or like goes through an arc, because you know that they feel like a real person who's like an absolute fucking prick. Like when My Mask actually goes out of his way to like ask Saitama for help and like try to like mold Saitama into a better hero that fits his ideals. And like that whole arc of him going through that feels so much better because you know how much of an absolute fucking dickhead a My Mask is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just things like that. It's I don't hate the manga, but I would kill to see the webcomic continued.
Yeah.
Especially because where we left off in the webcomic was so fucking good. Literally, last time we talked about the webcomic, I was praising it for how it started, like, the Robo, like, genocide, essentially. I was praising it for doing it, executing it so well, because, like, they showed without showing, you know what I mean? Like, they did a perfect job of like saying like, look what's happening, but like without like showing grotesque and like brutality. It's like it's so expertly done in the webcomic. Everything feels like perfectly designed. That just doesn't feel the same in the manga. It feels like they're winging it half the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, what are we ranting about here?
Still beautiful.
We still like it. The art is obviously peak. Can't complain about that.
Yeah, and then there are still like some of the new moments they add in. Like there is still some like good stuff unique to the manga.
But the manga is definitely like a different beast compared to the
It's a
webcomic.
different beast.
And it's something that you just have to like be like, okay. And that's one thing that I've always noticed in this age of like remakes and remasters and stuff is people always get pissed off when remakes do something different or remasters do something different. And it's like, I understand it, but the old content is still there. To me, that's always been like the thing. So if people want to remake something and they want to do something interesting, you know, cough cough, Final Fantasy VII remake, Nomura like doing his own thing where he's like adding new storylines into it, and like people are pissed off. It's like, no, I'm a big fan of that because like I can just go back and play Final Fantasy VII anytime.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like I get it. It doesn't look as great as like modern day graphics and stuff, but like if you love the game, it's not gone. You know?
It's still there.
And the argument that I always hear is like, well, new people aren't going to be brought into the series. If it's like, well, no, they are. They're just not going to be brought into the series the same way you were. Like, it's going to be a different. They're a different person. They're going to be brought into the series in a different way, and they might stick to it, and they might not. And you know, if they might stick to it, they might be like, maybe I should go back to the old one and see what it's like. You know.
Yeah.
But it's like it's such a weird thing to me that people get so mad that remasters like try different things. It's like everything should just be the exact same, and then people get mad that everything's a sequel. It's like, okay. Whatever. Obviously, these could be. Could be like two separate people essentially, but like it just always feels weird.
Yeah.
When people complain about stuff like that. Anyway, that's enough about One Punch Man. We went off on a little tangent, despite the fact that
that was.
we haven't really.
I mean, we're oops all tangent right now.
So true.
I don't have any strong things. Part of me is like, man, I really want to start talking about Juju.
I mean, yeah,
but
well,
it's also like
speaking of train crashes, I guess we can go on to Juju. Like, ooh, Juju.
I love it. It feels weird to start talking about it a bit too much because it's like 3 chapters from the end.
Yeah, especially because
But
like
also, there's so much to talk about.
Kind of wrapped up, but kind of not. Like.
Yeah, we're definitely in like epilogue victory lap territory right now. And part of me is like, how much I like the ending is going to depend on the state of this next chapter.
Especially because it's my favorite character's life is hanging in the balance right now, so I'm a little invested.
Yeah. I know, part of me is like, is he gonna be okay? And part of me is like, he had better have some gosh darn consequences.
Oh, for sure. I mean...
If that boy gets off scot-free, I'm gonna kill someone.
For sure.
But also, Maki deserves happiness, but also, maybe she deserves better.
Alright, so let's just get into your thoughts on Sakura's, the end of what might be like one of the greatest villains in modern anime history.
Yeah. So I personally love the end of the fight. Mm-hmm. The last like 4-ish chapters have been exactly my jam.
Yeah.
Absolutely love them. I think the pacing overall definitely needs some work. Part of that is just like reading it weekly, because I went and binged like the last like 7 or 8 chapters this week since we didn't have a new one, and it read a lot better then. But personally, I have been very much on board with this like last little arc in Yuji's domain, and I loved it.
I really love like Yuji's domain and just like him kind of trying to appeal to him, and like Sukuna being like, you can't appeal to me, and then finally Sukuna realizing, wait, you're taking pity on me. Like,
I know, man, that look of anger on Sukuna's face when that happens, it is such one of the most human moments we get from him, and it is so good.
It's very good.
And you can like see it right there when there's like that like cut to like the Buddha statue where he's just like, "You think you're better than me?" Bish. Absolutely not.
It's so good. And then I I love. I saw a post talking about it, like how it's like every good anime or manga villain ends up like this at the end, and it's like the pile of black goop with like random appendages and stuff. It's like so true.
I think we had like 3 of those in Full Metal Alchemist.
Calling back the dwarf in the flask, my brother. And depending on how One Piece goes, we might end with one of those as well. So.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I'm gonna go on a little One Piece tangent here because I don't think. Well, actually, you know what? I'll save it because we will probably talk about One Piece. I forgot that we haven't talked on stream about that since.
Yeah. We'll loop it back. We'll loop back around to the sins
anyway.
of the father.
So anyway, yeah. So that fight Nobara makes a comeback. Obviously, we can't gloss by that. It was something that we knew could have potential to happen, but also like felt like she could never return and it would be fine as well. But I'm glad.
One thing that I found really funny about that is that, like, you know, and like I'd say probably like the month, apparently, like a lot of people were talking about like Nobara's gonna come back. I know that's things that I heard like people talking about. And like every time it would come up in conversation between like me, my wife, and her brother, I'd always be like, yeah, but you know, Nobara doesn't actually have to come back to make an impact, because it's possible for her tool to still have her curse technique in it the same way like Nanami's did. Mm-hmm. And I would say that like every time the conversation come up, and then she's just alive, and I'm just like, well, I feel like I have egg on my face.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's been so long. And they did hint at it when it originally happened, but it was like also one of those things where it's like, I trust in the fact that I think Gege is a competent writer, and I trust in the fact that if he wanted to have her like stay dead or out of the fight, it could happen and could be well written. But he also, like, you know, at the end of the series, this is a showstopper moment. We have all the fan favorites coming back. You know, it's like a Kingdom Hearts 3 if it was written competently. So.
Yeah, there's kind of this another element I liked in Nobara coming back is there is this element of Dojo wins.
Yeah, that's true, because for so long, especially in like fan communities as well, it feels like people have been making fun of Gojo for like you know that one panel where he says like when he gets captured. And he's like, I'll leave it to them. And it shows like our three main heroes.
Oh, yeah.
The 3. And then
it's like, well, look how that's been going.
Everyone's been memeing it like, oh, Nobara's dead. You know, Yuji doesn't have his power anymore. Fucking, you know, other one's been taken over completely by Sukuna. It's like, everyone's been memeing it. And it's like, now at the end, they're all, you know, alive and they're all happy-ish. We'll see in the next couple chapters.
Yeah.
I did like the first thing when Nobara came back and like the issue was solved. Like the first thing they did was stupid shit immediately.
Oh yeah. It's like everyone knows that when they tried to do that, when they thought Yuji was dead, it didn't work out. So why were they gonna try it with Nobara? That chapter made me laugh out loud twice. Mm-hmm. The first was that point when they were trying to do that again. And this, oh my god, Toro, slow down. And the second was Dojo's letter to Megumi.
It's fair. Gojo's still...
I personally like it.
Still fucking in death, still a fucking little shit.
Yeah, as he should be.
You know, and everyone talks about Gojo the Goat, you know, and he went out. Can I just, you know, I know I glaze him too much. Perhaps I am a serial glazer of this character, but like I feel like nobody's giving credit where credit's due to Todo. Literally carried everyone on his fucking back.
Bro, Toto is so good.
He
Every moment he is
literally
on
saves
screen.
everyone multiple times, including literally throwing his body in the way to save people at the end there. Like, literally the GOAT status, like, cannot be beat in my opinion. I glaze him too much, but he is definitely, like, amazing.
And at his core, he is still a comedy character
Yeah.
while being this hype. Like, it's so good. He's got a freaking vibraphone strapped to his arm.
Dude literally breaks his vibraphone, has no use of his powers anymore, like, is literally just, like, on the battlefield and uses his body as, like, a shield for other people at that point. Like,
Yeah.
cannot use his power anymore. He's like, all right, well, like, ridiculously insane amount of aura coming from him. Like,
Yeah.
cannot be beat.
He is just so good.
Especially when you have other, like, sorcerers in there, like, I'm so bad with names, with the sword dude, who is, like, basically the exact opposite. We still love him, folks, don't we, folks? But he's basically like...
Oh, Kusakabe?
Yeah, he's basically like a...
God, I hate Kusakabe. Hate him so much as a person.
I mean, he's still, you know... In the end, he was there.
I hate Kusakabe.
You gotta have characters like that in a story like this, you know. You can't have everyone.
Yeah, and we don't know for sure who it was that said Dojo won, but I'm pretty sure it was Kusakabe. Oh.
But yeah,
man, and there's so many little details to think about. Like,
yeah,
I was thinking for a second about how, like, the whole the fact that they were doing body swap training.
Mm-hmm.
Is that's the whole reason that right before the Sukuna fight, there's, like, this really confusing moment where, like, Yuji's getting trained, and it's like, wait, who's talking? Who? This is weird, a little weird. And then you forget about it because immediately after you have, like, one of the hypest fights of all time.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's what they were doing, and they just explain it, like, 30 chapters later.
Yep.
It's so good. Even though I have grown to realize just how absolutely garbage the Viz translation is.
I don't read Viz. I read the fan translations when they come out. So, which yeah. I'm not sure
so apparently
how good those are compared to quality wise, but
yeah. So apparently the main translator for Juju and Viz is, like, so obviously wrong almost all of the time. Like, he will, like, put the wrong names for, like, important, like, mechanical details. Like, he'll get Sukuna's domain mixed up with his techniques constantly.
So he's like whoever,
and it's like
he's like whoever's on the One Piece team who refuses to change the name to Zoro after all these years.
No, it's not even like he did one. Like, there's one point where he's talking where Sukuna is talking about Maharaja's adaptation, and he puts Malevolent Shrine's adaptation.
Oh, so it's just ass. Like, it's not even like him.
Yeah.
Being the translator being, like, malevolent themselves. It's, like, literally just ass. Okay.
And do you know how bad it is that I found out about just how bad it was?
Well, how bad is it?
Is that it was oh god, what's her name again? I forget it. Her name. It's the one cosplayer who's married to Mother's Basement. She was the one who was posting about it.
You could not find that answer in my brain. Is all I can say.
Yeah. But anyway, so you know, she's one of those people.
Surprised me by saying Mother's Basement was married. That's all I can say.
But
that was a shock to the system.
Yeah, but, like, she's one of those people who like, following her on Twitter is just, like, super, like, leave translators alone. They're doing their best. You know, like one of those like when people start pulling out nonsense for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it was from her Twitter that I found out about how bad the translation was. When even the people who go to bat for translators by default is like, yeah, this is bad.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you can read fan translations on the next read through though.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. You get me a good VPN.
You know VPN for.
So I can feel less fear when I'm going to these sites. I am like moments away from being like, you know what? I just need to get rid of all my subscriptions and start pirating stuff again.
It's a classic Gabe Newell quote. When you don't provide a service that people actually want, they'll just fucking start pirating.
Bro, I have been signed up to Paramount Plus for like 2 years. I could have sworn I canceled that bitch. Literally got it just for Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Deleted it after, but apparently it's still been on my Amazon for like 2 years straight. And I just haven't noticed till now because I was adding up my finances to see how much I needed to do, how much I could afford to spend on a car.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what is this $13.96 Amazon purchase that's been like, that's shown up like 4 times in the past 4 months? What? Paramount Plus? Yeah, actually terrible. But yeah, Juju, I think is very good.
Yeah, I mean,
don't think my family agrees with that.
So all I'm saying is, you know, some people might need a reread.
Yeah,
gonna,
like I need to reread.
Are we gonna do the super quests?
Oh yeah, we should. Do you want to do the sandwich or the terror raid first?
I don't care. Whichever one you think is better to do.
Let's still find an easy terror raid.
Look around for
We
one.
want 4 stars or lower.
I have a 3-star.
Yeah. All right, let's do that one.
It's a Lowland Grimer.
Ooh, a Lowland Grimer.
Lowland Grimer week 2.
Let's see. So it'll have poison and dark type moves, but it's a ground type, so we'll just need to hit it with something, grass or water.
Grass or water.
Do I still have SD on my girl boss? I mean, it's a 3-star. It'll be fine.
So true. This is probably gonna be fucking Asmon, but you know.
Oh yeah. So do you have any more thoughts on Juju before we move on to something else?
No, I mean it's definitely gonna be one of those things where I feel like I'd reread. I'll have more thoughts. I'll definitely be able to delve more into the power system because that's something that I feel like on this first kind of read through I've kind of glossed over a bit. Is how the power like works necessarily in Juju, because I've kind of just been like, it works in my brain. Like some of the, especially with like especially once this arc has started, the like kind of battle arc, like my brain just kind of like glossed over and I was like, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it. Like,
okay, yeah, that's fair. I mean, like I think part of the way to get the most out of Juju, especially for the Culling Dame arc into the Sukuna versus the World arc, is so much of that is like understanding letting the mechanical minutia set you up for you to both get things correct and get the rug pulled out from under you. I think that's one of like the greatest joys of this fight and the Sukuna fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I understand the power system enough to be like, oh, okay, I get what it's trying to get at there, but also like I also fail at it enough where I'm like, I don't understand the intricacies of like why can't they use reverse curse technique right now, or like why like some of the stuff like kind of went over me, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna trust the author on this one.
Yeah,
I was like, I can't be like bothered to go back right now and read the whole thing to like understand why everything works the way it does, you know.
Yeah, which is fair.
So I'm like already sure that I'll reread the series, so it's not like something that I'm like, oh, I'll never understand it. But it's like in comparison to like, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, man, part of me loves it so much. I'm like wanting to get like physical copies for Juju.
I mean, maybe one day I will. I mean, right now I'm just moneyless, penniless.
Oh yeah.
So none of the series I enjoy I have copies of except for Berserk. I think is the only one that I have physical copies of. So, but it's like when it comes to something like Hunter x Hunter, it's like Nen is a system that like doesn't feel complicated enough that it needs like a reread of almost, compared to like Cursed Energy, which feels like a little confusing at times. Nen feels like it's,
oh yeah.
And of course like there's a little more time dedicated to explanation of Nen. Like there are little whole chapters where it's like going through breakdowns of it, but it feels a lot simpler to me as a viewer, I guess. Like the only part of Nen
Cursed Energy definitely has fewer charts.
Yeah. The only part of Nen that I could see being confusing to a viewer that like actually reads and, you know, engages with the series is like the restrictions, because they're kind of not easily defined. Where it's like, what does a restriction let people do? How does a restriction stop people from doing stuff? You know, like what's the limits of a restriction? That kind of thing. It's like I can understand people being confused by that. And like, why is Gon able to do what he does when he goes Super Saiyan mode, essentially?
Yeah.
So it's like I can understand that confusion that could be seen there, but like anywhere else with Nen, it feels like a perfectly explained somewhere in the series.
Yeah, perfectly explained.
Which I don't feel is the same with Cursed Energy. I might be wrong. I might reread. I mean, like, I might be just like, oh, I'm an idiot. Like, I don't know. But definitely some parts that I feel like I'm a little more confused with Cursed Energy than with Nen.
I think with Cursed Energy, I never really got confused, but I also read it with a lot more of a mind to like, not necessarily power scale, but to be like if anyone ever gets into an argument with me about this, I want to be ready.
Yeah,
I kind of have that mentality a little bit, because like that's one of the most fun things for me is like picking it apart like that.
Yeah, and I guess it's less confusion for me, and more like I wouldn't know how to defend myself in that kind of conversation. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be able to say, like, I wouldn't be able to quantify the reasons why they aren't able to like re-enter their domains or like not use reverse cursed energy anymore, or like that kind of thing, other than the author said so, basically. So I'm just gonna trust them on this for now. Like they're exhausted. The author says they can't do it right now, so I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna think about it too much.
Because it's like, because it's like someone comes up to me and is like, you know, it's so dumb that like Dojo had like absolutely no way to win that fight and he was just always gonna lose. And I'm like, well, you do know that like Dojo was like moments away from winning like a dozen times, right? Do you know that like the only reason he won was because he had that BS that he pulled out of his back pocket with Maharaja?
Well, like I like how
of course
when like for instance, that was a bit confusing to me, like how stuff was going. But when Sukuna pulled out Maharaga, it was like he adapted. It's like I immediately understood. Like I wasn't like, oh, I'm confused. Like how did he do that? Like I immediately understood. Okay, he was using this whole part of the fight to like use to get Maharaga to adapt and to like use it as a trump card. I completely understood everything that was happening
Yeah.
up to that point. So it's like it wasn't like I was confused by that, but it's like I was confused when it was like in the middle of like the 5th chapter they're fighting, and it's like right now Gojo cannot use his reverse curse technique because blah blah blah, and I'm like okay, yeah, I'm like whatever. I'm like I'm not thinking on it too much.
Okay, yeah. I mean, actually, knowing how it works, I think actually made my life worse because I was having intrusive thoughts about brain damage for months after that.
Yeah, like
That
in the
part
whole
of the
brain damage, I
manga.
was like, whatever, I don't really care. Like, like, but when he was like, oh, okay, he pulled out Maharaga and he was using the whole fight to like, essentially get Maharaga as a trump card for Gojo. It's like, okay, I immediately understand. And then like Gojo flips it on him, and I understood completely what like what was happening. But like when it's like he has brain damage, so he can't reverse curse or whatever, I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
No, it's like, yeah, and it's like, yeah. Meanwhile, for me, the moment where it's like, wait a second, is he literally healing his brain right now?
Yeah, no, I understood
And
that part where it was like, oh, he's healing his brain. I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I don't know how it affects me as the reader though, because to me, the brain isn't even understood in real life. We don't know what the fuck's going on in there. You think I can understand the brain in this manga? Like,
well, that's the point. We don't understand. That's why what he's doing is so stupid. And I think, like, for me, like, that brain moment was one of the most wild things, because it's like...
yeah.
Because it's established in the Hikari versus Kashimo fight that, like, you can't heal your brain. Like, that's the one weakness to Hikari when he's, like, auto-regenerating literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, like, if you kill his brain, there's not much he can do.
You know what I was surprised of?
Also...
Yeah, go on.
No, you first.
No, my tangent like leaves the conversation, so you continue first.
Okay. I was going to say that, have you seen the popularity polls for,
No, I have not.
So, do you want to know what characters rank above, both Todo and Hidaruma? So Hidaruma and Todo, like, barely make the top 20.
Which is just first off, Higuruma I can kind of get because Higuruma was relegated to having sex off screen with the one lady. So, have you seen that meme?
What? No.
Is Higuruma who I'm thinking of? Wait. I'm awful with names. Higuruma's the game.
Hidaruma's... No, that's Akari. Hidaruma's the
okay, different H.
The lawyer.
Higuruma's the lawyer. Okay. Yeah. No, I see. I disagree with people, but I can kind of understand where they're coming from. Not liking Higuruma.
But
I can kind of understand it because he's kind of like a lawful, lawful good or whatever. Not lawful good, but like lawful neutral, I guess. And people don't really like characters that are lawful. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. I love that character so much. So sad that he died when he did. But anyway, so above both him and Todo, do you know?
It's gonna be stupid fucking...
So Kashimo.
Okay, Kashimo, I get it because people fucking...
Kashimo is above both of them.
Yeah, even though I disagree, people love his design, and I kind of get it. But yeah, I see. I get
hate
it.
Kashimo so much. Literal least favorite. I hate him even more than I hate Kusakabe.
He's kind of like annoying and useless, in my opinion, after being built up for so long. But people like his design.
And then you know who got like number 5?
Is it fucking pedophile incest lady?
No, worse. The I forget his name, but he's he's Maki's cousin, the white-haired one.
Oh,
the one that comes back as a curse.
Really?
Bro, he got number 5.
Really?
What is wrong with
That's
them? Yeah.
Very surprising. It's a character made to be hated. Yeah, it's because he looks like it's because he looks like a fuckboy and they can make fan cams of him, basically. So.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. You can't argue with the fan cams.
You can't argue with the Tumblr girlies,
No, that's right. Polar
I've been looking
biome.
for these fucking ditto blocks for 5 fucking. For 10 minutes, I feel like at this point. Have not found a single one.
Okay, I found one of them.
Bruh.
I forgot that I needed to be looking in the polar biome.
I've been in the polar biome this whole time. And I have not found a single one. But yeah, I was talking about Hikari when I was talking about the off-screen banging for 20 chapters. It's him in the
With Urame.
Yeah, it basically just became a meme that they're like, oh, they're having sex or whatever off-screen. And then it was funny because
Honestly,
in the
I
chapter
can
that
see
they
it.
came back, like where they showed like the end of their fight, like it was basically just like them, both him shirtless and her like with stuff all over her face, and her being like, "All right, I'm killing myself now." People were like, "What the fuck?" Like, there's no way they just came back and they came back to this.
Honestly, so funny that's how it made. That's the kind of thing where it's like in 10 years they're gonna release an OVA that's just their fight and it's gonna be great.
Dude, I love the memes where it's like people like the person whose body got inhabited by her like coming back to her body being like, why the hell am I pregnant?
Terrible. Oh yeah, so what were you gonna say before I derailed you with that godforsaken popularity poll?
Let's think for a second. What the fuck was I gonna say?
You said it was gonna derail the conversation.
It was gonna derail the conversation. It was gonna be something related to Juju, but I forget what. So it obviously wasn't that important. Yeah, it was definitely like a completely tangential thing that would have gotten us off the topic. So yeah, I have no idea what it was. But yeah, Juju, fun. I'm glad it's in its ending period now, and because it's in its ending period, we have to talk about its replacement. If you're done talking about Juju now.
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't really have much else to say. Fun series.
I think
I'm gonna give it a read.
Everything else I have to say is gonna be like really thematically relevant, and I'm gonna need to write it out first.
I'm sure we'll have thoughts, especially after these final 3 chapters happen.
Yeah.
But for now, put it to bed. I mean, you have to talk about its replacement. So, My Hero, it's over. Juju, it's about to end. We didn't even talk about My Hero, by the way. I just wanted to do a little short thing making fun of My Hero. Did you read about the ending?
I heard that people hated it, but I haven't actually heard much about it.
I'll explain it to you because I haven't read it myself, but I've read the synopsis. So essentially, I don't even know what happens with Handboy, and I don't care. I'm so done with that series. I fucking don't give a fuck anymore. But so what ends up happening with Deku is he ends up sacking his powers to stop One for All, or All for One. Like he sacrifices his powers and it stops All for One essentially. So One for All and All for One get essentially like nullified and it's all over. But Deku doesn't have powers anymore, so it's over. So what ends up happening is Deku loses his powers. And as we know, in this hero world, there's a lot of ways that you can be a hero without powers, right? I mean, we look at the Vigilante manga, where like one of the main characters is a dude without powers who beats the shit out of people with powers the whole time. We look at like the fact that like one of our most established side characters that gets shipped with Deku all the time is a girl that like just designs stuff so that people can, fight. Without having powers, that kind of thing. So, naturally, what ends up happening is Deku becomes a teacher and not a superhero anymore, and for 7 years languishes the fact that he can't be a superhero anymore while being a teacher at UA. To to add on to this fact, he loses contact with all of his friends because they're all too busy being heroes.
You've got to be kidding me. That cannot be what happens.
They're all too busy being heroes to be friends with him anymore. So for 7 years before finally somebody, I think it's like Uraraka, comes and gives him a Tony Stark suit so he can become Iron Man in the universe. And that's it.
That's gotta be a joke, right?
Nope, that's how the ending is.
That's gotta be a bit.
He
No.
literally loses all contact with his friends for 7 years and becomes depressed because he doesn't have powers and can't be a hero, and becomes a teacher at UA. Until they give him a superpower suit. And then the final shot is of him with like the other like class 1A people like in a like superhero pose shot while they're all doing superhero poses, and he's like waving at the camera. It's bad. It's real bad. It's like terrible. So yeah, that's what people were making fun of it. They were memeing like Deku being I think because for a short while before he became a teacher, he like was a store clerk at at like a gas station. So people were memeing on that a bunch, where they were saying like, "Oh, here's your ramen, sir." And like, there was just images of Deku giving people like plastic bags filled with groceries. So yeah, it was pretty atrocious. Just put the fries in the bag. Yeah, exactly.
That's so sad.
So yeah, that's what happened with My Hero. Every time I heard something about the final saga, I was like, man, I'm so glad I stopped reading that shit. Woo! I can live on with my good memories of it. The parts I really liked, the Stain arc, twice in Hawks and stuff, all that stuff. I can live on with the memory of those and how well written they were, and like how I was really enamored with a new like hero universe. How he did a really cool thing with Vigilantes, where he let a fan just start writing a series that was like a spin-off. Like I can be a really big fan of all that stuff and still be very glad I stopped reading that fucking series.
Me and Alexa were trying to watch some more of it the other day.
How'd that go?
And our eyes just glazed over. We didn't even finish the episode.
It's ever since My Villain, I think it's kind of just been atrocious. So My Villain for me was like the last big power moment where they had all the villains. They had like even like the villains that weren't necessarily like aligned with our main villains, but like were still cool villains in universe that you wanted to see do stuff. Like the one fucking dude with the vulture nose. What the fuck his name is?
Oh yeah, like
he had a huge.
I think
in that
I
arc
did
as well.
think
like,
that
like,
the
it was so cool, and then just fucking drop it all.
Yeah, I think for me one of the worst parts is that like the war arc or the super duper hideout raid or whatever.
Yep.
Is that there was a lot of good in that arc. There was also a lot of garbage, but like the ending of it had me like hopeful.
Yes. And I think the thing that tricked me for a bit was like right after they decided to go into the traitor reveal and like the really good stuff about the traitor. Or that wasn't even right after it. Because the traitor stuff was the traitor stuff was after some of the fucking Deku slog that we had to go through, right?
Yeah, because there's the Deku slog, there's the pull Deku back.
Which was all just like
and
some
then
of the
there's
worst shit I've ever read. Like I can't sugarcoat it. Shit was awful.
There's the freaking absolutely nothing of a character with Miss America or whatever.
So fucking annoying. On a million different levels.
Just dies for no reason.
literally just like a joke character, essentially. We introduced this super strong character as a joke.
Just did absolutely nothing. But yeah, it was a. Anyway, you had a.
Anyway, moving on from depression. Uh,
Yeah. Moving on from
so
depression.
that ended. That series ended. It was fucking disgusting. Um, we have Juju ending now as well, with a split. We have some other newer series that are kind of ending, marking the end of their franchises, and there's a problem for Weekly Shonen Jump. They need their ringer. Sure, they still got One Piece, but how long is that gonna last? One Piece is nearing its end too. They need their ringer. It's perfect time. The return of the GOAT, Hunter x Hunter returns. We're back again, baby. So
I am so excited for that.
A couple comments on it. First off, Hunter x Hunter was not supposed to return in Weekly Shonen Jump. Last time when Hunter x Hunter ended its run in Weekly Shonen, they said it's not coming back to Weekly Shonen. So something changed in the interim. And if it is of my opinion that the fact that they have a bunch of series ending, they're like, we need like a good series again in our to sell like cases. Because last time, literally, they were talking about moving it to like a slower platform where it would release like in bi-weekly or monthly installments instead of weekly. Which, to be fair, I'm still a fan of. I wish they had done that.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's still being given like the respect of like we know it's like one of the best series we have, and basically we need it to propel our sales numbers is essentially what I feel like they're doing by having it continue in Weekly Shonen. So. It's nice to see it return. Sad that we're probably only going to get a couple weeks. Making a series for Shonen Jump sounds terrible for your health. Absolutely. And we see that fact by the fact that there have been a couple of... Togashi always tweets as he does his stuff. And it seems he's done a batch of around 20 chapters this time instead of 10. I don't know if they're all 20 going to release in a row. Or if it's going to be 10 and then there's going to be a bit of a break before the next 10. But he's basically done...
Honestly...
the inking and sketching and stuff for like 20 now instead of the next 10. So, which is really nice. Meaning we'll probably get the next batch really soon after the first one, or maybe even right after, which would be cool.
Yeah.
And also, while he was tweeting, went through a little arc on his tweets where he talked about his back pain, how he'd been feeling less back pain recently, which is really nice. But then he started doing color spreads. And color spreads, he uses different paper and does a different pose when he does them. And his back started hurting a lot more again. And as it turns out, he like went to like the doctors to get it checked out and stuff. And apparently the pose that he does when he does color pages completely fucks up his back. So he had like finished all the color pages and was like, yeah, my back definitely hurts now. I can corroborate that. So
this poor man.
But the interesting thing to note here is one part has been figured out. We might have a key to preventing more back pain in the future for this for this prodigious author that we can kind of avoid, which is really nice. Like because it's like the whole time that we've been talking about how Hunter x Hunter being so delayed is because of like the health issues and like the fact that he's had this like literally debilitating back pain for years now. And the fact that there's might be a key into figuring out even a little bit of the cause of that is really nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Man, poor Togashi.
But that's enough about that. I mean, all I'm saying is, when Hunter x Hunter comes back, you can expect more streams from us.
For
All I
sure.
remember is last time Hunter x Hunter, like the 10 chapters came out, I think we literally did a stream every week talking about the most recent chapter. So
Yeah, and spoiler alert, they were all good.
yeah, they were all bangers. So yeah, that's I can't speak for you, but
Man,
definitely my favorite. Move heaven and earth to just consume and talk about that at any point.
I love Hunter x Hunter so much.
And hey, the new batch is starting
For
to
a
release
second,
on my birthday, so I'm nothing but pogs.
yeah, for a second I thought you were gonna try to like start talking to me about Kadarabachi, and I was just gonna be like, no.
So that would have been the meme that I should have done. It's like Kagurabachi's back in, it's back on stocks. It's a new Shonen Jump. It's got to carry the Shonen Jump for a while.
I'm sure it's good. I'm still not reading it.
I've been speaking of like stuff. Like I've been hankering to like try to start reading some other stuff. I've been looking around. I already talked to you. We'll get into One Piece in a second, but like because of the more
Yeah.
recent One Piece chapters, like I had been like looking around, and for a second my eyes fell upon Fairy Tail, and I was like, perhaps I was too harsh upon you. Perhaps a second a second viewing requires some forethought. Luckily, I talked myself back from that ledge with your help.
Good. I'm so proud of you.
But there are a couple others that I've been considering.
Let it be mid in the back of your mind.
I would not even say mid. I'd say like bottom tier. But there have been a couple others that are like popular that I had never really gotten into that I've been thinking of getting back into or rereading or like reading for the first time. One of them like Soul Eater, like I never got into, but I was like, maybe it's worth it for me to kind of take a look because I know people like Soul Eater a lot. And like
Maybe I should read it because I know absolutely love the anime. We're actually planning to rewatch it with one of our friends here soon.
See, I heard the anime was good, but I heard like the manga it ain't got nothing on the manga from is what I because I was doing research on like which one should you do, and like people were like the anime's good, but like the manga like clears because apparently the
Yeah,
anime
I
and
know.
manga like split halfway through.
Yeah, the anime has to do like a hard right at some point, like basically just like have its own ending and path. I know there's some big difference. Like my favorite character has a happy ending in the anime, does not have a happy ending in the manga, from what I understand.
So yeah, that was one
But
that
I
I
really
had
should read that at some point.
my eyes had also fallen upon. There were a couple others that I'm trying to think of. Tokyo Ghoul. I've read the first series of Tokyo Ghoul, but not the second one. So I was thinking maybe I'd go back and reread the first one and read the second one. Tokyo Ghoul Re, because I don't know. I'm assuming you've never done Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul kind of. It's on the more gruesome end. There's some fucked up parts, at least in the first core. I don't know about Re if it gets as bad as some of the stuff in the original, but it's really good, at least the original. And I know the anime kind of fucked up Tokyo Ghoul Re, and it was like super bad. And I just never read Tokyo Ghoul Re, but I heard the manga like is really good. So I was like, maybe I go back and I read the original and try to read Re. I'm trying to think of some others. Like I was considering Naruto again. That always comes up in the equation. It's like, should I go and spend my time with Naruto?
Part of me was thinking of picking that up.
Well, it's such a big like cultural milestone, like for anime and manga. The first half is really good, yeah, and that's the part that I've mostly consumed. I've consumed like up to like the Gaara and Rock Lee stuff, and like a little bit past that, and that pissed me off. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't even. Yeah, How far did I get? Because like in the so I never read the manga at all, but I know in the anime I got to basically the end of the Sasuke retrieval arc. There's like the solid
further than
like days worth of filler that I just never. I'm like, I'll watch this. I'll watch through this later, and then I never went back.
Yeah. And it's like, it's because it's up there. It's one of the big three, you know. It's that One Piece, which obviously I love to an extent. Well, yet again, we'll talk about it. Abusive relationship, much, but and then there's Bleach, which you cannot fucking. There's no world where I'll read Bleach.
I don't know. I think Bleach is kind of worth it, though. I think reading Bleach is kind of
No,
worth it.
dude, you can't say that because everyone, all these people I know with fucking shit opinions are like, Bleach is ass, but it's also like good at the same time. Like it's worth it, and I'm like, I can't trust these people. Like I can't let myself fall to the to the Bleachiverse.
See, I don't know about good. I mean, it's got a lot of good in it. Oh, finally, I found you, Ditto.
Like I know there's like the Soul Society stuff is like really good from what I've heard. But like I also know that like a lot of the end game of the series is just like liquid ass. And I know the series has returned recently and like has some good stuff, but like to me it's like I don't know. It's
You don't want to have to struggle through that.
right. It's like if I wanted to do that, I'd just go and read Fairy Tail. So
That's true. I will say that like Bleach is legitimately beautiful, and there's like good stuff.
right.
There's good stuff in there. Apparently, from what I heard, they're planning to do a lot of rewrites with the anime adaptation, or they did for the final arc.
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard as well from a friend who's a big Bleach fan. Is that like they're like fixing it essentially in the anime?
Wait, those exist?
I know.
They're still out there?
I mean, I'm not. It was a big three, so it's like for like a decade basically. So it's like there are people that still consider it like one of the like peaks of anime and manga. That with Naruto and One Piece, which you can't really blame them. They're good. They're at least like baseline good.
Sometimes
I wouldn't call them like the best. You know, maybe One Piece at some part in my life I would have called the best, but it ain't now.
Definitely ain't now.
It definitely ain't
Not
now.
75% the way through the Wano arc.
Wano arc Act 3 hit different.
And by hit different, I mean hit me in the balls. Oh, you know what you could read? Witch Hat Atelier.
Okay, I thought you were gonna start fucking saying Princess Sleeping Suspect manga. I was like, I'm never reading that.
Okay,
shit,
listen,
brother.
Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle.
There's
so
no
funny.
shot.
It's so
We're gonna be
good.
fucking 80 years old, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, Sleeping Princess in the Castle." I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy. Like, there's no chance I'm ever reading that.
So good.
What did you say before? What was it you said?
Witch Hat Atelier. There's an anime coming out for it next season. I think that everyone's really excited for. Yeah.
Is that like part of the like Atelier Riser series?
No.
Land of the Lustrous? I've considered Land. Why would I read Land of the Lustrous though? Isn't the whole point of Land of the Lustrous that it's like fucking like peak 3D animation? Are you supposed to watch that shit?
Do people actually like that? Also, welcome to the chat, Emma Dylan. I'm having a fine day. Hope you're having a fine one too.
I thought people were like, it's peak 3D. The manga is also good. Okay. Perhaps.
Maybe I'll read it at some point. I think I remember hearing about that. I think one of my annoying friends was talking about it.
You know one thing. Well, don't talk about Noah like that. He's in my chat right now, dude.
Oh no, I didn't know he was listening. Oh no.
No, but
I definitely didn't know he was in my chat too.
Who knows
Even
if
though I
Orange will
didn't see
continue
his message
adapting it.
until like
I
30
feel
minutes
like,
after he
how
sent
could
it.
they not continue adapting it? Everyone jerks it off like as the peak of 3D anime. Like, how could they? Like, that's like if that's like if UFO Table just had to stop animating Demon Slayer for some reason. Anyway. They got distracted by furries. Oh no. Like, the only one that I've heard of recently, the only other good 3D anime that I've heard of recently is the fucking Trigun remake. Which I've heard was very good.
Me and my wife
Trigun.
have been meaning to read through that.
Which is also by then, yeah.
Or watch through that.
I haven't seen the adaptation yet. I have to check it out for sure. Because I love the original Trigun. I have like a poster of it, I'm pretty sure, as well in my room, so...
I also love the original Trigun. My wife actually watched through like a good chunk of it without me, and she's like, "Yeah, this is really good. You have to watch it."
Yeah, I saw you had what's his face as your icon for a while on Discord, didn't you?
Oh yeah, because we had matching icons for
Yeah,
yaoi purposes.
You had Crossboy. I saw.
Yeah. Oh, I love him so much.
Great.
The experience of watching, because when I watched the movie of God, like 5-6 years ago at this point, I remember like, because like obviously it was like a Elseworld type of not quite canon story.
Mm-hmm.
But when Wolfwood shows up in it, and you're like, oh my God, he's alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just a magical moment to have just a little bit more of that very good. I don't know about good boy, but that very boy.
Yeah. But another one that I keep like I keep having compunctions about rereading and continuing to read it. You've never read, and you will never read, I know this for a fact, Made in Abyss.
No, but I will not. I have nothing but respect for it. That respect is just from way over here.
It's such a good like world. Like, it's so unique. Like, I love how, like, I actually just put my controller down because I'm just gonna like go off about this. I love how like amazingly unique Made in Abyss's world is. That's something that like nothing has ever captured as well. Just like this world of like this seemingly unending abyss that we don't know how deep it goes. People go down and they venture for like to find like relics and treasures, and they come back up, and each new layer you go down, like each new like path you go down to, like gets more and more like something fucked up could happen, like you don't even know, and it's like unexplainable to like human. Like, it's such a cool concept, and the only reason it has such cool villains, like the series has such cool villains, it has such like great characters. The only reason why I don't want to go back is I'm pretty sure it's written by a raging pedophile. And it's like disgusting. Like
it's like those characters are so good, but do they have to be drawn?
The first season of the anime was really good, but there's so much weird shit. Yes, exactly. Like, it's like, why does the main character have to be punished in the way that she gets punished in that first like episode? Why does she have to like piss her pants all the time? Like, why? It's like it's so weird. Why can't you just have this unique idea that's so fucking well written and like just like do it really well and like fucking execute on it, and like tell this like brutalist story in a really fucking amazing way, and instead you're like, yeah, I have like a fucking pedo piss fetish. It's too many Mangagos are legit pedos. Yes, and that's an issue. That's I'm not saying it's a good thing. But it's like the fact that I'm so tempted to read this series, despite the fact that I'm like almost certain this dude is a fucking pedophile, should say how good it is. Like, I'm mad.
I mean, I understand.
It's so fucking annoying. It's like literally has one of the most well written villains I think I've ever fucking read in
any kind of history. Bondrewd is so well written. It's disgusting. Some of the characters are so well written, like fucking what's her face? I don't even remember her name, but the fucking furry lady. It's like it's so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was my wife's favorite character from when she watched it.
It's such a well done series, such an interesting and unique world that like nobody can ever capture again. Like it's fucking lightning in a bottle, and it's just like I get disgusted when I think about reading it. It's what pisses me off.
Yeah, very fair assessment.
It's one of those days I'll probably try to get back into it, and I'll probably like look up for probably for years I'll look to see if like somebody did like a non-creep edition edit of the series so that I can read it in peace. Because man, is it so fucking cool. But I digress. Another series that you'll never read.
The struggle is real.
Another series that you'll never read that I keep recommending. Fucking Vinland Saga. Cory.
Listen. I literally have every chapter downloaded to my computer. I just need to figure out the best way to read it. Listen, sometimes you get hit by that depression energy and you like barely have the energy to cook and eat a whole pizza and then feel disgusted with yourself afterwards. I think I'm gonna figure out what the best manga app to download on my phone is. But no, you are definitely right that I need to read that.
You need to read that one. It's because also the thing about Vinland Saga is, I think it's the most. Because I like, I'm a blame Kingdom Hearts 2 for this one, but I like when my characters get fucked up, and I like seeing them. I like seeing them survive through adversity after getting fucked up. I think this is the best manga that I'm going to get you to read that involves that, because you'll never read Berserk, and I've made my peace with that.
Yeah.
You'll never
I will say I'm
read
a little bit less anti ever reading Berserk. Berserk, based on everything I know happens to it, is the kind of thing that I would be able to survive reading, but like I would just have to really prepare myself first.
Here's what I'll say with Berserk. The Golden Age arc is the best arc in the series, and it's the first arc. It's after like a little introduction arc that follows kind of the Fist of the North Star kind of school of thought, where it's like just show a mysterious guy with a cool weapon, essentially. So the first arc is kind of just like nothing. And then it goes into the Golden Age arc, which is the best arc in the series, which isn't as fucked up as the rest of the series. So,
oh yeah.
That being said, the end of the Golden Age arc is the most fucked up point in the series. So, literally the transition into the next part is fucked up. So,
yeah, I know a fair bit about the manga because like I've watched a couple of videos about it, so I'm like not as prepared as I was for like going into JoJo's, but I am like moderately prepared.
Right, and there are definitely some fucked up parts in the Golden Age arc. Wylad should be number one on the list. Once you see Wylad, know that you gotta brace yourself. Is all I can say.
Okay.
Because here's what I'll say about there are a couple of suspect parts in the manga. Is what I'll say. Where it's like it feels like, despite the fact that it's such a well written story, it feels gratuitous and it's like sexual assault is what I'll say. And the author, who is now past Mura, before his passing, even he was like, in those early chapters, it's kind of fucked up the way I kind of showed some of that stuff. Like, I shouldn't have done it the way I did it. So it's a little fucked up, but the author himself admits that, like, maybe I should have been less, like, gratifying in the like in the male gaze essentially of some of this.
Yeah.
Because like it kind of fucks with how its perception will be received in the modern age. So the fact that even the authors have kind of addressed it, it's like obviously it's a problem, but it's not something that people aren't aware of, especially even
it's something to prepare yourself for. It's not something to like boycott it for.
Yeah, where it's like even the author was like, yeah, I made a mistake in that aspect. So it's like, okay. Now we won't talk about the fact that there are some weird implications. There are a couple of weird panels with a young girl. I'm not gonna get into that. Berserk is perfect in 90% of its thing, but unfortunately is written by a Japanese author. So, as we're going back to the Maiden Abyss thing, too many Japanese authors are legit pedos. I'll put it at that. It's like that's one of the main reasons why I don't list like manga and anime as one of my main interests when I talk to people who are normal.
Yeah.
Like, because it's impossible to recommend stuff or like talk about stuff that's normal
without certain caveats.
Yes. And it's like
that make you feel insane for having to make them.
Right. Like if a member of my family ever asked me like what anime should I read or what anime or manga should I read or watch, I would only have like 2 recommendations off the top of my head. It would be Full Metal Alchemist, and even that one I'd be like, hold off, like you might want to prepare yourself because it gets a little fucked up in some places. And the only other one would be fucking One Punch Man, like season 1. Like I can't. It's impossible for me to think of like more that I could be like, yeah, you should watch this one, just like cold open, like without like saying like, but watch out for this and that and this and that, and like.
Yeah. Although, like, to be fair, I mean, like, once you get outside of the like most like bare basic like animation and like TV shows over here, you know, like you'd have to have a lot of similar caveats to tell someone to watch something like, not similar, but you'd also have a lot of caveats to tell someone to watch like The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones.
That's fair. At least with Game
but
of
if someone
Thrones...
goes into those, they'll inherently have a lot more of a understanding of that than something from another country.
Like, yeah, at least in Game of Thrones, it's like real people doing things. When it comes to manga, it's like fake 16-year-olds getting, you know, in bikinis and acting like bimbos, and it's like I can't recommend this to people. Like I can't in good conscience do that. Like, you think I can in good conscience recommend like one of the funniest fucking comedy anime mangas of all time, Konosuba, to anyone? No, fuck no. You seen some of the shit that they get up to in that?
No.
Like,
oh man, we still need to go back and watch season 3. I just have to mentally or the rest of season 3. I just have to mentally prepare myself.
Like, obviously it's meant to be raunchy and intentional, but it's also like, come on, man.
You're not gonna recommend that. Like, unless you know they're into that sort of thing.
I'm saying, like, I don't even feel like I could recommend One Piece. Especially not the anime. You've seen the fucking... I'm so glad the anime is getting a remake is all I can say.
Oh, yeah.
For multiple reasons. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like...
I mean, what could I recommend?
I think literally...
Oh, Girls Bravo. Everyone should watch that.
Like, literally, I think it's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and first season of One Punch Man. Like, that's what I can recommend. Because at least, like, in the first season of One Punch Man, the most uncomfortable joke is the fact that Saitama is wearing a shirt that says boobs. And has a picture of boobs on it. Like a giant image of boobs. And that's...
But also, that's like...
the worst joke of the season.
You know what? I would also say that I do think Well, the quality isn't as high. I do think you could probably recommend Demon Slayer nowadays.
Maybe. Demon Slayer still has some of that weird shit, though. Where it's like the fucking one character, like, lusting after his sister. It's not. It doesn't go.
Yeah,
go
Zenitsu is
as
a little
far.
weird, but he's also like, but he's also like kind of pathetic, and it's not like you're actually looking at the child Nezuko in bikinis.
True.
Actually, I don't think Jujutsu Kaisen has that much in terms of like turn people off nonsense either.
It has fucking the incest.
Darn it!
But like if that's the worst,
ruining it for everybody.
If that's the worst, we can at least recommend it to the Game of Thrones crowd. Okay, like
that's true. That's true. The Game of Thrones crowd.
One Piece also has Sanji that makes it hard to recommend. Sanji ain't the only thing. Look at any woman in the series. You'll see how hard it is to recommend. One Piece is not kind to its women. Or their backs.
Nope.
We're still looking for these fucking dittos? Oh my god, there's one left.
Yeah, there's one left. I even tried looking underground for them.
I did it for a while as well. But yeah.
Oh, there's a TM here that I just never found. That's fine.
I mean, One Piece would be a lot easier to recommend also, bring up Sanji, if Sanji was written with respect for him as a character.
Man, if only we could always have Whole Cake Sanji.
Or
Water
Barati
7 Sanji.
Or, Water 7 Sanji. Like Sanji or like Alabasta Sanji, like Sanji that was a cool character.
If only we could always have pre-Thriller Bark Sanji.
Pretty much. That Wano ruined him, yeah. I mean, Wano drew the nail into the final Sanji-shaped coffin.
Wano ruined him after Whole Cake gave us hope.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. We're talking about the authors of series that might be pedophiles. Look no further than One Piece. Let's get into One Piece, ladies and gentlemen. The main course of the meal has arrived. We've talked.
Let's see. So
we've talked One Punch Man, Juju, Hunter x Hunter, and a bunch of other miscellaneous shit. We've gotten our thoughts on those out of the way. It's now time to rage unending. Rage. It's time to rage. One Piece.
hatred. Like, talk about.
So, I thought of how we'd approach the egghead conversation. So let's start with the good. Let's start with the good of egghead. So every time we're off the island, I like it. This is not a joke. Literally every time we are off the island, be it the little Reverie mini part, or, Law versus Blackbeard, which unfortunately gets off screen for half the fucking fight.
Yeah.
Or Shanks versus... you can't really call it versus, but... Shanks murdering kid.
Yeah.
All that stuff, really nice.
So deserved.
Really well done.
And the Pirate Island stuff, absolutely incredible.
Stuff, great. You loved seeing Garp in action. Even like all the flashback stuff, like the Kuma flashback, and all the other stuff involved with that, like all the other characters that were involved, like the Rocks Pirates and stuff. All really nice stuff, really enjoyable, really good, really well done. And I want to give my little crackpot theory here. I think it's well done because all that shit was planned in advance. You want to talk
Where
about what
Egghead was?
You want to talk about what really wasn't planned in advance is Egghead, the island itself.
Good God, what?
So, coming into the end of Egghead, I was willing to give the arc the benefit of the doubt and just say Oda wanted to, have this really wacky character who had like this weird stuff going in and had certain motivations and wanted like this weird Oppenheimer kind of like thing, but still have the character take no moral responsibility at any points in his character arc. Sure, we can go with it. It's kind of written sloppily, but whatever. Now that the arc is over, I realize that no, Oda was just flying by the seat of his fucking pants, and he did not really plan this coming into this arc.
And not really thinking through the implications of anything.
And wow. That's kind of demoralizing, because at least when Wano was asked, it felt like he was working and planned on it going into it. With this, it does not feel like he had a plan in the fucking slightest. I don't understand how you can realize... Okay, so... The issue at the end of the arc, okay? What's the issue that Oda has to solve? The Straw Hats can do no wrong. And Vegapunk is supposed to be smarter than that. Those are the issues that we're supposed to solve with this kind of end of the arc wrap up, which are genuine issues with the arc. The Straw Hats fucked up and they let Vegapunk die despite saying they wouldn't let him die, and Vegapunk was supposed to be smarter than this, and they felt like it was wrong and it felt like it wasn't really covered in the arc. So Oda said, I gotta fix this. I gotta fix these plot holes. These Straw Hats can do no wrong, and Vegapunk had to have realized all this. So how does he do this? Okay, so Vegapunk realizes there's a traitor 2 weeks before it happens, and wipes his own memory and says, "Kill myself." Oh no! I'm sorry. What the fuck are you smoking?
It's like you can feel. It's like you can hear in real time the flip in his brain get switch, where he's like, "Oh, yeah, I might have done a little whoopsie."
He's like, "Oh shit, the Straw Hats literally can't fuck up. I can't have them fuck up. I can't ever have them screw up. I gotta make it so that it was Vegapunk's idea to kill himself, and so that way the Straw Hats didn't screw up. He just wanted to kill himself." You see.
I mean, me too, after this arc.
It's so, literally the universe rewrote itself so that the Straw Hats couldn't have, a moment of weakness. You know in movies, where you have a character and you have your main action character, like John Wick or something, and they have their moment of weakness, where something happens and their characters are weakness, and that the point of that is to make our audience cheer for the characters and feel excited for the characters and be like, the characters when they get their, when they get theirs back, will feel satisfied. So by having the Straw Hats never have this moment of weakness since, you could argue Wano, but I agree to disagree. By what I would say is, since Sabati Archipelago, I think it's leading to a problem where people are starting to fucking hate your main characters. Because all they do is the correct thing. They never screw up. Even when they screw up, the universe rewrites itself to be like, no, actually. And it just feels weird.
Yeah, the last time they had an arc loss was Sabati. Actually, I think that's really their only big real arc loss.
there was okay. So if we go back in time. So Wano, we had Luffy dying. No one could ever hate the goat Usopp. I got bad news for you. Everybody fucking hates Usopp. So we have Wano, which had Luffy dying a couple times, but it didn't really matter because he's actually Nico, the Joy Boy, chosen one, and will never die, and will set the world free. Which is a whole other can of worms we've talked about endlessly. Which still could develop into something interesting, depending on if the through line of the series, like the fact that people carry on the wills of other people after they die, depending on how that's expanded upon, is like, do I want this will intentionally, or is it like overtaking me? That could be really interesting.
Yeah.
But judging by how it's been going recently, I don't think that's going to be happening. But that, you could say, was a moment of struggle, was Wano. Then we can go back to Whole Cake Island. You could say that they lost their quote unquote
by true,
having to leave Pedro dying, and they had to run, and they had to leave Jinbei behind to deal with that. So you could say they kind of lost there, but it really wasn't a loss. It was like them being like, all right, see you later. And like Pedro died and left his will to Carrot, who is now out of the series and we don't care about anymore. So, because Oda decided he didn't want to write for her anymore. So yeah. Then we have, going back before that, is Dressrosa. Characters did not lose there. Could be argued that they did nothing but win.
Yeah.
The fact
but
that,
which, also like makes sense in context, because that was all about
well, because and like Luffy was beating the shit out of Don Quixote, Don Flamingo. He was beating the crap out of him, and it was deserved. Like, we're not gonna pretend like I like he was styling on him. He was bouncing on it, okay? Like, let's not pretend it was anything different, and it was fine. Before Dressrosa is
Punk Hazard.
Punk Hazard. They didn't lose there. They, like, quote unquote lost to the Yeti brothers. You remember that? Like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
But no, they didn't really lose there. They made an alliance that would go arc spanning alliance that was really interesting, really fun. But no real losses, besides the fact that Smoker and Tashigi will never be seen in the series again.
The real loss here.
Before that, we had, that was Fishman, right?
Yeah, and Fishman was just nothing but a victory lap.
Fishman was let's show how much they've grown, which is fine. Before that was Sabati through Marineford.
Impelled down through Marineford.
Yeah, which obviously were huge losses, and that was the last huge loss for them. But before that, what we had was before Spotty. Thriller Bark, which wasn't a loss for them at all. It was a really cool moment for them, all teaming up. Before that was
Water 7 and NS Lobby, where Water 7 was a loss.
Water 7 was a loss.
But then NS Lobby was a victory.
Was the victory. Which is just good storytelling, It might be the best.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
Before that was Skypiea and Jaya, which was not a loss. Oh no, before that was Ringling, but who fucking cares?
Whoa! You are skipping over the arc of the series.
Yeah, I shouldn't even have mentioned it. You would have not even remembered it if I didn't say anything. So that's what I'll say. Before Skypiea and Jaya was Chopper and Drum, right?
No, before that was Alabasta.
Which was both a loss and a victory. The midpoint of the arc was a loss, and then there was a victory. So, because they kind of got outsmarted by the villains, but then Sanji saved it. And then I forgot how much. Actually, they got like super outsmarted in Alabasta. They got outclassed because they got outsmarted and trapped, and then they also got outsmarted at the end when the Civil War still started, despite them trying to stop it, and like the whole fighting thing went on, despite the fact that they were trying to prevent it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely like a loss into a victory. Before that was Drum Island, right? And like that whole saga, because that was where Vivi was introduced. Or no, she was introduced after.
So she was.
Before that was
Drum Island.
Before that was the Giants.
Yeah, so it was Drum Island, Little Garden.
Yes.
Laboon.
All right.
Or no, Drum Garden. Or Drum Island,
it was Laboon,
Little Garden,
Laboon,
then Whiskey
Drum
Peak.
Island.
No, it was Whiskey Peak and then Laboon, going backwards.
Yeah. You got it. Yeah. And so none of those were like losses. There was losses in character backstories, like Chopper's.
Yeah.
Which serves the point of that kind of loss before victory. But other than that, not much. Before that was Arlong. Oh no, yeah, Arlong, and then which obviously had the huge major losses in Nami's backstory, that were then rectified by the win by the crew. Before that was Barati, which was literally a loss for our one of our main characters. That is supposed to be build up for his old character arc that hasn't been touched on. After that, then we get into like the early parts of the series, which are win no matter what. But the point I'm trying to make is with this whole like loss win thing is early on in the series, what we had was either the characters losing in the arc or the characters losing in their backstories, where they were at an all-time low and had to like go through some kind of suffering because of it. Like, it sounds horrible to put it that way, but they went through something bad, and then because of that, we cheer for our characters when they smack the shit out of the villain. Crocodile is such a satisfying villain to beat the shit out of because of how he outclassed our heroes for so easily. With the modern arcs, there isn't that feeling because our characters are obviously a lot better now. We're, a Yonko crew, we're the crew of one of the most powerful pirates on the sea. But there's no loss, you know what I mean? Like, one of the biggest prevailing theories during Wano was that the raid was going to fail. The first initial attempt at a raid was going to fail, and all the characters were going to be like scattered throughout Wano, because initially people thought Wano was going to be a 5-act arc instead of a 3-act one, and they thought the Act 3 was the raid and it was going to fail. The Act 4 was going to be everyone come back together, and the Act 5 was going to be like the victory over Kaido. We're going to go up and beat him. Instead, Act 3 was just the end of Wano, and it was you know how it was. And a big part of that reason is our characters don't lose at Wano. Like, we have the biggest...
we did a fake out fail.
Yeah, the biggest
we get a
fails
fake out fail right before the raid.
We get like a couple fake out fails that are like, we have Luffy getting sent to jail, but actually it's his training arc. We get the raid about to fail right before, but actually it's a joke. We get a Luffy dying, but actually it's just him awakening. It's like we don't actually get like failure from our crew during Wano. We just get them winning. And it feels bad because like if the raid had failed and we had seen our characters fail to fight like even Jack, you know, like if Jack had bested one of our characters and like all of our characters are getting, or maybe they beat Jack, but like one of the Toby Roppo beat them and he became the new like third in charge or whatever, and like something just happened where it's like we can actually have this dynamics of our characters like experiencing failure and overcoming it. It would be a lot more gratifying in the series as a whole, and we wouldn't have what we have today where we have Egghead, where our characters can't fail. Our characters can't have this sense of loss because like we're already this far with these characters, and the Straw Hats can't have fucked up. No. They said, we won't let you die, Vegapunk, and then Vegapunk died. Oops. Yeah, it wasn't your fault. He wanted to die. He knew about it 2 weeks ago and told himself to kill himself. What?
Yeah.
It's dumb.
I just... why even add that? Especially because this is like the perfect opportunity to give them a failure moment, right?
Yeah, it's perfect. We're going into the final arc.
Like this feels
start
like
them off with the failure.
Like this feels like an echo of Sabati in so many ways, but then like just... Ugh.
It's like, start them off with failure, have them going to Elbaf, not cheery and happy like we're finally going to the Giant Land, but being like, we fucked up. The smartest mind of you know, the past few generations has just died because we're incompetent, and have them feel like they suck. And then have them head into Elbaf and do whatever you're going to do there, which I don't even know what's going to happen in Elbaf, and I'm kind of worried about it. Because of the fact that, you know, characters...
Sabati's been written.
Well,
or not Sabati, I mean...
the fact that
Egghead was written.
Stuff is revealed about characters in SPSs and Vivra cards now, not in the arcs, which is so fucking strange. Did you know they released a new batch of Vivra cards? Couple of fun things. One, Yamato's listed as a female, which got the whole rage debate up again. You know, is Yamato trans? Is Yamato just a delusional, insane person? You decide. But according to the Vivra card, she's female, so there you go. So that brought that debate back up. Then another one that's been funny, hilarious even, is Queen had a little interesting thing revealed on his Vivra card. I'm not even gonna make you try to guess for it because you're never gonna guess for it. On his Vivra card, it was revealed he had a son 36 years ago and abandoned him at the age of 10. What character does that sound like to you?
30 years ago, abandoned at the age of 10.
36 years ago, abandoned at the age of 10.
36. Is that Frankie?
Yep.
No. Why would it have to be a thing if it doesn't matter?
They revealed this in a Vivra card, and people are trying to. So it doesn't explicitly say like he's Frankie's father. Hey, how's it going? But it says he had a kid 36 years ago, which is how old Frankie is, and he left him at age 10, which is when Frankie got abandoned by his parents. And people are looking for anything else that would be an explanation for this. There are people that are trying to draw the line between him and Whitebeard's son. I forget his name. Whatever.
Pretty sure he's just
Whitebeard Jr. And that might actually be his name. Yeah. Who kind of looks like Queen. I think he is
actually just called Edward Newgate still.
Who is kind of looks like Queen. He's fat and he's like mid-30s. So people are like, maybe they're talking about him instead. People are just looking for any straws to grasp at, like, the fact that we might have just gotten the fact that Frankie's father is Queen, and we just got it revealed in a fucking Vivre card after the arc's over. Which is so fucked up.
I mean...
it's so fucked up.
I mean, honestly, if it is never revealed and they never do anything with it, except, like, put that little tidbit in a Vivre card, I'm fine with it. If that is where they leave it, then I'm fine with it, because it's not something that matters and it's never confirmed. It's just something for people to, like, deign in their YouTube videos or whatever. That's fine. If that's all that comes of it, I'm okay with that.
It's just, you would have thought, maybe, Frankie was 10 when he got abandoned. You'd think he'd recognize his father.
Did he ever look at Queen? Was there ever one scene
that's what people are like, I would find in the manga if he ever, like, saw each other. and people are like, well, Queen is like a scientist that experienced with, like, cyborg parts and shit. The people are like, oh no, dude, like, this is so fucked up. Like, it's drawn a bit of a stir in the community where people are just like, this can't be fucking real. So yeah, that's One Piece right now, is where all the interesting, like, character development is just revealed in supplementary material that we don't get access to until way after the arc's over. So that's cool.
Yeah. You know what? In 3 years, there's going to be an SBS. And someone's going to say, like, oh, hey, so, was there anything else that happened on Elbaf that we didn't get to see? And it should be like, oh, yeah, Usopp actually challenged a giant to a fight and beat him. And as a result, he's now betrothed to this is so character for the background
of
page.
A great word to see.
12 of chapter 700 or 7,000.
Yeah, and also, like, Elbaf is going to be...
That's going to be Usopp, sorry.
Elbaf is going to be Usopp's arc, is what everyone, always says. I feel like Whole Cake Island put a really bad reputation on the fact that everyone expected Oda to continue writing well for these characters after Whole Cake Island, where he wrote Sanji, like, a whole arc detailing his character and stuff like that. People expected him to continue doing that, with perhaps Zoro in Wano, to expand upon Zoro's themes of being the strongest swordsman and female swordsmen being weaker than male swordsmen, but not actually, because he doesn't believe it, but for some reason he acts like it a lot. It's very weird. Or the fact that maybe Egghead's going to be Frankie's arc, because Frankie's looked up to Vegapunk, and he went to his old lab and he, like, destroyed it and stuff, and, like, used a lot of the stuff there. Maybe that's going to happen, and not just Frankie, fighting the whole arc. And, to be fair, being the GOAT, I mean, he did pretty good in the arc.
Yeah. I mean, Frankie's still fantastic, but, like...
But, like, why wasn't there any character exploration? Instead, the most character exploration we got was Robin being asleep the whole arc and then waking up for 5 seconds to be like, oh, Saul is alive, ooh, and then falling back asleep.
Yeah. Like, the only character stuff we really did in the arc is for Bonnie and some of the Vegapunks. Like, hey, I will say, some of the Vegapunks are good characters.
I like the Vegapunks all being alive. You like that one? All being alive and forming one super body, except for not using York's parts, which it's a little strange that Vegapunk had a bunch of, like, robot sexy lady parts in his ship. We had a whole panel dedicated to, like, veering at them. But yeah, also, like, people were complaining about how Vegapunk's an ugly ass character. By the way, Vegapunk looks nothing like what he has the Brook syndrome, where he looks nothing like what the early character designs and like character, like, little hints are at in the earlier manga. He looks literally nothing like
Oh yeah.
what we revealed to be earlier. But people complained about how goofy he looked. Imagine how mad those people are going to be when they see the fucking Vegapunk amalgamation that is 4 Vegapunks in one body with all different parts.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
Man, just let them freaking die.
But don't worry, the one evil Vegapunk's with the evil guys now, and the one hot Vegapunk's with the good guys now, so we don't care.
Yeah. Atlas was the one who deserved to live. I'm sorry.
So true. It's so fucking true. Atlas or Shaka, like the two that like actually fucking like did things.
Yeah. Like Atlas, Shaka, I did like Edison too.
Edison did stuff, yeah. I just still can't get over the fact that the multiple Vegapunks like being like, we discovered traitors in our midst and they're revealing secrets to the world government.
Was it Lilith?
Let's find them. Oh, it must be Lilith. It must be Lilith. It must be Lilith. Oh, it's actually York. It's York? Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it's York. Hey, let's erase our memories of this and in my only note just say like, hey, the world government's coming. Be ready to die. Don't try to save yourself, by the way. It's stupid. Me when I troll myself, like me when I literally troll myself in the future. Like, what the fuck? Vegapunk just played an epic prank on himself as a joke. Like, you're literally the world's smartest person, and it's like, you can't figure your way out of this? And it's not even like...
Man, we did not.
Like, it's not even like, you know, when Julius Caesar died in old Rome, I'm pulling out the Julius Caesar reference. When he died in the Ides of March and is stabbed, A2 Brutus stabbed him in his crotch because he was fucking his mom. You know? Like, when he died, and Cicero, the orator, who fucking hated him, receives a message, you know, in correspondence with one of his other correspondents, who says, they're talking about the downfall of Rome now that Caesar's fucking died, and the guy who's talking to Cicero is like, I mean, if Caesar couldn't figure a way out of it, which one of us could, you know what I mean? Like, Caesar, the smartest guy around, couldn't figure a way out of getting fucking murdered. Which one of us could? And it's like, oh, you can tell that even his enemies had a huge respect for him. And it's complete opposite to Vegapunk. If Vegapunk couldn't figure out a way out of this, how could any of us? No, Vegapunk could have figured out a way out of this. Because literally all the rest of the characters did. There's no...
You know what I think You know what I think the worst part about this is? The worst part to me is that about that like little reveal that he planned it all is that like the fact that he had a message rigged up to go off after he died, like the fact that that was a thing was like the one time, it was literally the only time in all of the inventions or plans that Vegapunk ever makes where he had a contingency plan. Right? He creates all of these useful but terrible weapons for the army. You know, he does all of these things, never has any contingency plans, but this one time he's like, okay, if I die, this important knowledge about the Void Century will get out. He finally built a contingency plan. But no, it was just his whole regular plan.
Yep. And also he wiped his memory so he didn't think about it and all that stuff. I liked Saturn dying. And you know, Saturn dies because he's incompetent, as we saw in the arc. Yeah. Despite the fact that he did everything right, except for the fact that Vegapunk had a thing that he literally couldn't have known that he had. And he brought in all the other 5 overpowered characters, and literally none of them could deal with it. But you know, it's Saturn's fault. So, so Saturn dies. The thing that I was laughing about is people online were like, "What if after Saturn dies, like immediately over all the Den Mushis, it's like I am Elder Saturn, I have died, and here's the truth about the Void Century." Like immediately, like the contingency plan follow up. That's what I was laughing about, so.
It's interesting that he killed off Saturn just for the fact that, like, okay, the one elder that has gotten some development, and he's just now going to kill him off. Okay, that's kind of interesting.
Like how the thing is, Saturn didn't he bring them in before they even killed Vegapunk?
Yeah.
Whatever. Emo's just like the point is Emo's a prick. That's the point of it. It's not that. Yeah, it's not the character doing anything wrong. It's the point that is that Emo's a prick. And the fact that the world government, I will say, the world government finally gets a win in this arc, which thank fucking God. And you might say it's not a big win because Vegapunk released all this shit, but they finally got they got all the tools that they need. They got everything that they wanted from this. Like literally, if you go to the beginning of the arc where it's Saturn and Kizaru showing up, Saturn outlays a list. He's like, okay, we want by the end of this mission, we want York safe, we want the Mother Flame, and we want Vegapunk dead. And those are the 3 things that we want. And they did all those things. It's done. They did it.
Yeah.
So
they did lose Punk records at the end.
Yeah, but they still have the Mother Flame, which is the important thing, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, that Punk records, obviously an issue, but the Mother Flame they needed for their super weapon. So
I would have been so much less annoyed if Edison was still alive, got the Punk records away, and it's AI driven to go somewhere safe.
Well, that's what he tried.
But then he didn't survive.
He tried to bait us into it. I don't remember if you saw the first panel. It was Edison just his head or whatever, and he was shrouded eyes, and I was like, oh, okay, so Edison in his final moments took off with it, and he's gone, and he did this as a final thing. But then it was no, actually we're all alive, and I was like, oh, okay, go. I guess I'll fucking kill myself. Take a lesson from Vegapunk, I guess. I thought you were writing the character being interesting for a second, and said you're actually they're all alive because I can't have characters die in my manga unless they're evil.
Yeah.
To be fair, the 2 characters that died this arc are pure evil, so.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about how fucking... I don't want to bring this up because it literally just dropped the Kuma plot thread. We go through this whole backstory for Kuma. We go through all this interesting stuff with him, probably the best part of the arc. And then Kuma does some interesting stuff, shows up, does some interesting stuff. They get him onto the boat, and then they're just yeah. Yeah, he's
I mean, surely they'll get back to the Kuma point, right? I mean, at this point, it seems like Bonnie's just part of the crew.
Yeah, Bonnie and Hot Vegapunk are part of the crew now, so.
Yeah.
You remember at the beginning of the arc?
Well, no. Only Hot Bonnie is part of the crew. Young Bonnie is not a part of the crew.
Yeah, we have to bait as many people into thinking that she's of legal age, so we can call them pedophiles. What was I gonna say? The fucking remember at the beginning of the arc where Zoro shows up? Zoro says to Lilith Vegapunk. He says, "Vegapunk, I got a question for you, an important question that you gotta answer." Remember that? Remember when he said that?
No.
You don't remember that when they showed up to the island and Lilith was like, "Oh, you're pirates. We don't like pirates on the island or whatever." And Zoro was like, "We have an important question that you have to answer, Vegapunk." He literally says that, and it's a big panel where it shows his face, and he's looking right at her. You don't remember that?
No, I have no memory of this.
Well, it happened, and do you remember what question he asked?
No.
Oh, that's because he didn't. Yeah. He said, "I have a very important question to ask you, Vegapunk," and didn't ask a question to any of the Vegapunks. I guess you could. Maybe the question was, "What's the deal with the devil fruits?" And the answer was we kind of don't know really. Here's a semi-explanation. It's what you think about in the world. It's something that makes literally no sense in the universe that we've created.
I got a theory that it's a demon, a dancing demon. No, something isn't right there.
It's this peculiar thing that whenever somebody feels like they really want the power to wash clothes, they'll then get the power to wash clothes efficiently, and so on and so forth. Whatever power you desire. I wish. What are some of the more fucking insane powers in the One Piece universe? Like that just make no fucking sense for somebody to have wished.
I wish my hair could get really spiky.
Yeah, like.
I wish I could be cut into a million pieces and still be okay.
Like that's still understood. Like I wish I could divide myself into a bunch of pieces. Like I wish I could be like stretchy like rubber. I could like see it. I wish I could wash clothes. I don't know. There's some other weird.
I don't know. I still stand by the theory that like 90% of the devil fruits of Big Mom's children's exist solely because of Big Mom.
Then that is an interesting kind of little twist to it, but like it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, and you didn't have to go. We didn't have to go like, hey, can you explain the devil fruits? Yeah, here's how they're made. Like, here's how they first come into existence. Like, no, we could just like have them be like, I don't know how they pop into existence. It's unknown to me. But here's like some of the mechanics of them, and then we'd be a lot happier. And I mean, it doesn't matter at this point because the show isn't about devil fruits anymore. Nobody gives a fuck about devil fruits anymore. All we fucking care about is hockey at this point. It's hockey show. It's the hockey show. Hey everybody, welcome to hockey show. Do you have advanced cock hockey? Do you have fucking supreme conqueror hockey? Like, if you don't have that, you're not welcome to the party anymore. Like, I don't care. Hockey's so fucking stupid. So hockey was invented hockey was invented as a way for these motherfuckers to counter paramecias, as a way to make it so that people can, if a man's made of pure fire, people can hit them. Okay? Now, let's not talk about the fact that this already happened in the manga without hockey, kinda, you know. Remember when Ace fucking died? Yeah, the man made of fire fucking dies? It's almost like the explanation for that was when you tire up paramecias, they can't fully control the fact that their body isn't the solid thing anymore, and that was the whole point of Ace dying. Or something. I don't know, maybe it was something completely different and I'm just stupid. But...
Oh, I thought it was just that lava's
lava's stronger than fire. Right. Or it's almost like they had like this thing called Sea Stone. You remember Sea Stone? Remember Sea Stone? Hey, remember what country that came from? I can't remember. Oh, it was Wano.
That's right.
Sea Stone came from Wano. Hey, it's almost like that was one of the main reasons why one of our main villains went there, is to mine the resource there so he could use it. Hey, remember what happened in that arc? Oh, nothing involving Sea Stone? Literally nothing?
Hey, listen, they had Sea Prism Stone bullets.
Oh, that's right. They had Sea Prism Stone for Luffy's character training arc so that he could train to be better at hockey. That's right. Okay. Yeah. That was the only point of Sea Stone existing in that arc, was so that Luffy could get better at hockey. You know, hockey, the thing that is impossible to quantify and is just literally a Super Saiyan power level. Which, you know, we haven't used in the series before because the whole point of the series was interesting fights where you have to outsmart your opponent, despite the fact that they have a devil fruit. Remember the fact that people talk about the crocodile fight all the time, and how Luffy like used his blood to like fucking beat the shit out of Crocodile. Like, it's great, it's cool. Luffy outsmarted Crocodile, we get it. He boomed him. But the one that always like fucking sends me and makes me think like, wow, what a well written, like what an interesting like concept devil fruits are, is the fucking NL fight where NL literally
Foxy versus yeah,
where NL literally can't hit Luffy and Luffy and NL like loses his mind, but instead of like admitting defeat and finally being like, oh, I've lost, he instead invents ways to beat the shit out of Luffy still while he can't use his power directly against him. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, the back and forth in that is fantastic.
And at the end, Luffy uses the thing that NL uses against him to beat NL. Wow! Can you believe it? It's almost like this was written by somebody who understood what the fucking point of it was before he, conspiracy theory, mysteriously died in the 2000s and got replaced by somebody with the same exact name who looks like him. What? Who said that? That might be my favorite. I mean, like my favorite modern conspiracy theory is that Oda died and was replaced by somebody who looks exactly like him. And I think the big part of it is so recently there was an interview with the editor of, I want to say it was Dragon Ball. Like the longtime editor of Dragon Ball, maybe? It might have been a different series, but it was one of the longtime editors of like a very prodigious manga series. One that was like very well respected. And he had an interview, and they were talking about like modern day anime, and the subject of One Piece was brought up, and he said, I love One Piece. One Piece is great. I think it's a real shame that the editors for modern day One Piece don't know how to say no to Oda. And I was like, thank you. Thank you. Someone who is like...
Oh, yeah. I think I saw that.
An accredited, like, respected person in the industry is saying, like, hey, what the fuck?
Like the modern editors for One Piece are One Piece fans.
Yeah, so it's like they just trip over themselves.
Who are a bit too starstruck to make the hard decisions.
Be like, yes, Oda, everything you do is correct. Yes, Oda. It's like they don't have the editors from old who would say like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this stupid shit. Hey, like maybe there's a plot hole here that you should rectify before you're at the end of the arc and you have to make a reason for why the smartest character got outsmarted. And our main characters who can do no wrong can do no wrong. Maybe you should figure it out before the end of the arc. But no, instead they're like, oh, the greatest series of all time, which is my favorite author. So yeah, it's like... and the thing that pisses me off the most is that we still haven't found this 5th fucking Ditto block. This whole goddamn time.
I know. I'm looking everywhere, my man. Because it's like, on the one hand, like editors, they can
for sure,
but they can also be good because, like, there's the element of like, with Dragon Ball Z with like the Cell saga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like the editors were like very did not like a thing that Toriyama was doing, and that resulted in the villains like getting swapped out like half a dozen times.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, yeah, these villains suck. And it's like, on the one hand, like, surely, they had a point. The ultimate design we end up getting for Cell is really good. It's a climax a lot of people like.
Yeah. I think it's like...
But also, I think somewhere...
It's probably...
But, like, also, like...
probably tied for people's favorite arc with that and Frieza, and you could say that it's in part because of the fact that went through all those design changes.
Yeah. Although there's also like the counterpoint where it's like part of the themes and stuff getting so muddled in that arc, but between what ends up happening and where it looked like he was originally taking it. A lot of that muddling probably happened because of the fact that he had to course correct so many times.
Yeah.
But, being an editor is a hard job, and writing is a hard job, which is why you need to make sure that all the people involved are doing their best and not jerking each other off, unless it is time for a Pokemon 6 hand job.
The callback, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a callback. Is there anything else in particular that got me upset at One Piece over the past month?
Well, people are talking about these mid arcs, like the most recent, the mid chapters, like the middle chapters between Egghead and Elbaf. They're like, wow, it's really written well. Like, right, it's always these no offense. We've talked about this before. One thing that we talked about, like the difference between Hunter x Hunter and One Piece is the biggest thing is the payoff and the setup is in One Piece. The setup is so good, it's so well done, but the payoff is always just Luffy punches the guy. And it's never really like great in a lot of the later ones. And some of the earlier ones it's a lot better, like Alabasta and stuff, but the payoff is never really what you go for in One Piece. It's the setup and like all the characters like doing their stuff early on that is done really well. Whereas opposed to Hunter x Hunter, where the setup is fucking laborious half the time, where you're just sitting here like reading a novel, but then the payoff to Hunter x Hunter is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere, and it's just like, what?
So it's like people are like, wow, these in-between chapters are really, really nice. And it's like, the in-between chapters are really nice is because it's the part where Oda's really good at the setup. It's like he's setting up stuff for the next arcs, and it's like done really well. Because he knows, when he knows what he wants to do and when he knows where he's going, he does it really, really well. So,
and it's really clear that in Egghead he did not know where he was going.
Yeah. And it always reminds me of that one quote from the man himself, from Oda himself, where he said, if Wano ends with a punch, it's not going to be satisfying. If Wano ends with Luffy just giving a big punch to... He literally says, if Wano ends with Luffy delivering a big punch to Kaido, it's not going to be satisfying to the readers. Spoiler alert, Wano ended with Luffy giving a big punch to Kaido. Despite this man literally saying at the beginning of Wano that he didn't want to end the arc like that, he ended the arc like that because the man does not do payoffs well.
Yeah.
Setups he's great at. And that's why people love the series so much, is because the world feels full because of how well he set it up. The world feels like lived in almost because of how well he set up this world. But the payoffs to each arc are fucking garbage compared to the setups.
Yeah.
So it's like, obviously these chapters are going to be good. I always look forward to the mid chapters because we get to see some of the reactions from the world itself. Unlike Egghead, who decided to do that in the middle of the arc, and it was miserable because all it did was drag out pages. And like, I was laughing because people were so you saw the revolutionaries for like a second at the end of this chapter. Of course, we had to have a reaction from every single revolutionary, even the fucking freako weirdos who were never going to see anything of in the final arc. But the thing that I was laughing about was, first off, people were making fun of a dragon for just chilling on the beach while his friend died. And Dragon being like, we have to do something. And people were like, yes, finally, something's going to happen. Dragon's actually spoken a word instead of going ... for the past 40 chapters. So first off, that was funny. But second off, what I thought was really funny is the panel that just says, Koala summarized all of Vegapunk's message for the for the revolutionaries. And then it showed all the revolutionaries' reactions. And it was like, everyone was like, could she have done that for us? Like, could she have summarized the message for all of us so that we didn't have to go through this fucking arc? Oh my god.
Where was it?
It was at the fucking... It was at the... it's at the place with where you heal your Pokemons.
Really?
It was
okay, is the Ditto still there? Because I need to look at it. I checked
I
there
can show
so
you where
many
it was. It's gone now, but I can show you where it was.
Okay. Yeah, I literally just got back from checking.
I also checked around here a bunch as well.
I think 5 Ditto blocks is one too many. Although maybe it's easier when you've got 4 idiots looking instead of just 2.
Well, I feel like I went over the same places like 17 times.
Okay, where is it? Where was it?
Right where I'm standing here. Right here in the middle.
It was in the middle.
It was right next to the fucking thing. I was just like coming by and I was like looking at the 4 pillars and I was like, why is there a block next to that pillar? And I was like,
why didn't I just check in the middle? The middle. Okay, yeah, that's. At least we got freaking a lot of points for that.
So true. But yeah, One Piece. What a joyous ride.
One Piece.
From me recommending it to you at the midpoint of Wano, eagerly recommending it to you to just be,
me getting caught up the moment we get to Egghead.
like my vehement recommendations that this is like one of the goats, one of the greatest series I've ever read. Like you need to read it. I know the reputation. It's long and everyone talks about it. It's finally getting you to read it, and then me as you start reading it being like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Right as it's like the monkey paw curled. Finally get your friend to read it.
Still very funny though. I still think it was worth reading for sure though.
No, I mean I think it's one of those things where it's like, what other fucking thing were we just talking about earlier? What other series were we talking about earlier? Where I was mentioning.
How that was good or bad?
Oh, it was My Hero, where it was like, I can just think about the early parts, the parts where I really liked, the overhaul arc, how well executed it was, the Stain arc. I don't have to think about the later parts. I don't have to think about it. And that One Piece might go that route.
Yeah.
Might go that route soon. Is all I can say. If it keeps serving up shit on a platter, I might just remember the fun times and not have to think about the end of One Piece because I'll have stopped reading it at that point. So.
Yeah. At least we got Kagurabachi.
Yes. Hunter x Hunter can come back at a better time is all I can say.
Yeah, that's true. I was so excited for Hunter x Hunter.
Thank fucking God. Oh my God.
I did start. I did read the first chapter of that brand new series that came out this week, though. What was it called? Friggin'.
Yeah, that one's great. Yeah, I heard.
I'm looking. It was like the top billing, I think it was. Itchy the Witch.
Yeah, what's that one
It seems pretty good so far. So it's in a world where there's magic. Only girls can be witches.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then the main character's a boy. And you'll never guess. You'll never guess.
He's 13.
He gets magic powers and turns into a witch.
Oh, I thought it was some weird fetish shit. In fact, I still think it is, but...
I mean, I hope so. Be kind of a shame if it wasn't.
It's like a mashal thing, is what you're saying. Not the weird fetish shit, but the fish out of water, not supposed to be in here, magic system shit.
Yeah. I mean, those are kind of a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he does actually get magic. I don't know. It seems decent so far. I think the main character is pretty good so far, I think. He's like kind of like a mountain boy who like raised himself in the wild. And he's got like this like really strong desire to kill things. He's like, I want to hunt it. And its first chapter was pretty good. I don't know if I'm gonna read it weekly or if I'll like wait for like a chunk to be released and then go into it. But like starting strong, I'd say.
Yeah, there's some other like newer series like that I still need to catch up on because Kaiju number 8 I dropped a while ago, and I think I want to pick that back up and Sakamoto
Honestly,
Days.
I would probably say just anime it for Kaiju.
Sakamoto Days.
Anime
is
up
as well. I don't know if you've seen anything about Sakamoto.
I've heard good things about it. I heard the anime was coming out soon too, I think.
It's about a retired hitman who is a father of like a store, and he owns a store now. He's like a father of a girl.
Yeah. I heard some stuff about the anime.
It's like a funny comedy series, but also has its serious moments. So, speaking of funny comedy series, it also has its serious moments. I've been waiting to bring this shit back up. Do you know what I'm going to bring back up?
Spy Family?
No, I mean that's great as well. I mean, Spy Family's going through its little transition right now between arcs, so it's doing great. I love it.
Don, you do need to read Don.
I'm talking about a series I have recommended to you that you have definitely not partook in.
Oh, what are you recommending, or what are you talking about?
Gintama, of course.
Gintama, yeah, I need to read Gintama.
You need to read or watch Gintama. It's very good. Honestly, watching it might be the better option because it has a lot of it has some like filler episodes, but the filler like aren't bad. Like they're good filler. And the episodes that aren't filler, like some of them literally just have references to like popular series at the time. Like there's like One Piece references and Hunter x Hunter references and a bunch of other shit. They just reference the different shows and stuff. Yeah. And I don't know if they do that in the manga or not. I'm not sure. They probably do to an extent, but it's definitely pretty funny on the show itself. Of course, the caveat that it is early 2000s show, I think. So has some unfortunately dated stuff. But the unfortunately dated stuff is not in the original work. It is all from the translations, is what I'll say. So,
okay.
Like, there's this one guy in the series who gets perpetually called like an old loser because he's like an old homeless guy, and he's kind of a loser. And the translations decide to call him through like half of the series the R word. It's like, come on, dude.
Ooh.
And that's literally just the translations. It's not in the original thing. It's like, come on.
It's like, who translated this? The One Punch Man read it?
So true. But yeah.
Oh, speaking of cool series, Ranma's getting a Brotherhood moment.
Really?
Yeah, they're remaking Ranma, which is very exciting.
Cool. Maybe I will check it out.
Yeah. You do definitely still need to read Inuyasha.
Do I?
Yes, in my opinion, Inuyasha was actually like that good.
I mean, I know Inuyasha's good. I've heard it. So many. But for some reason, Inuyasha shares the same headspace to me with Rurouni Kenshin, and it's not its fault at all that it shares that headspace. But it always puts me off when I'm like, I think of it, and then like the same thought I'm thinking of Rurouni Kenshin, and I'm like, listen, it's one thing to be a pedo manga creator in Japan. It's another thing to be a convicted pedo creator in Japan. Like, you know how bad you have to be convicted of that shit in Japan? Holy.
Yeah. Oh, Rurouni Kenshin. Really sucks, because, like, it is that good, too.
And I'm pretty sure it just shares the same headspace, because it's, like, similar art style and era. So it's like...
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, yeah, same thing.
Yeah. I do highly recommend Inuyasha, though. In my opinion, I read it, and it was actually worthy of all the hype that I'd heard for it over the years.
Well, maybe I will put that on my list. I still have
Yeah.
I do have a short list, actually. Let me see.
I mean, honestly, like, I could probably recommend to you, like, almost all of Rumiko Takahashi's manga. Yeah. Only 2 of them are real, like, action series. Like, Ranma has action in it, but it's definitely still a rom-com at heart. While Inuyasha and her current one, Mao, are both, like, definitely action series that, like, you know, have enough romance in them to flutter the heart a bit.
Hey, we're guys in our late 20s, we appreciate a little romance in our stuff, we're in tune with our emotions more than our younger selves from a decade ago.
Yeah. Boy howdy, is the romance in Inuyasha so good. Like, the characters are so, like, mature and stupid in, like, believable and understandable ways. And it's just so heart-wrenching.
Maybe I will put that on short list. Let's see. I was actually going to look at what my list is right now. So, I'm currently reading mangas.
One Piece, Spy X Family, Kingdom, Jujutsu Kaisen, Vinland Saga, and JoJo, and Versus. You still haven't checked out Versus, have you?
I have not, no.
Versus is good, so it's only like 20 chapters in, and it's so good. I'm loving it. I think I'm actually going to take a break from JoJo until like part 9's finished. This is the first part that I've been here for when it's actually coming out, and I don't think I enjoy it as much as like reading it binge. Like, I enjoy the community aspect of like seeing people react week or month to month to like the releases. But it doesn't make up for the fact that every time I read a chapter, I have to be like, what are these characters doing again? What is their power? Like, what?
Yeah. It's a big change.
Like, I feel like the community aspect doesn't make up for the fact that I can't
do not have the attention span to like go and research.
Yeah, like every month.
What's been happening for the past 2 years before you? Yeah.
And then I have on my to read soon. I have Kaguya-sama, which I have to reread a good portion of it, and then is Kaguya-sama over?
I think the manga's over. I'm not sure.
So yeah, maybe I'll read that again soon. And I have Vagabond also on there, which, that's gonna be a trip when I finally get around to that one. Yeah. That's a wait for when I'm having a bad day. You crack that one open.
Yeah, so, I definitely do recommend you put on Don on there. It is so good.
I'll put that on there for sure.
Yeah, Don actually just had an arc finish out. It was a pretty damn good arc.
Which one's Don? I feel like I've seen this one before.
Don, the anime is actually about to come out. It's what if aliens were real and ghosts and spirits were real?
Yes, okay, I know what this is, yeah.
Yeah, we're actually going to watch in theaters a supercut of like the first 3 episodes next weekend.
Okay, good for you.
They're doing that for just like a bunch of new anime nowadays, and I'm here for it. I think it's fun. Fun thing to do.
Your local theater or whatever?
Not like local, but like in like the nearest like mid-sized city.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a transition of theaters doing stuff like that, more so, like less like blockbusters and more like smaller things, because like that's the only way they can stay alive at this point. Literally, there's no way for them to stay alive by just doing blockbusters because nobody goes to that shit anymore.
Yeah, nobody even cares about them.
So I think
they're also not good. I mean, except Deadpool X Wolverine was pretty good actually.
I just think we're gonna.
Did you watch it?
No, fuck no. I've been fucking hard coded out of Marvel since Endgame. So.
Oh no! I mean, I've been hard coded out of Marvel since the first Galaxies.
I mean, I wasn't even a huge fan of the Galaxy movies.
Yeah. Since then, the only Marvel movies I've watched are the other Galaxy movies, and even then, I watched 3 before I watched 2. And Deadpool X Wolverine I watched just recently. Yeah, I'm really not a Marvel person, but Deadpool X Wolverine. I didn't even watch the first two Deadpools.
I mean, I get it. I'm not a huge
but
Deadpool
X
head, so
Wolverine was really good.
I'm not. That's not my style of comedy. So
Fair.
It is what it is. No, I think it like after Infinity War, I just don't care anymore. Infinity War was like really good.
Yeah.
And then Endgame was like liquid ass. So everything after it, I don't care.
What about Miss Marvel?
Blech.
Captain Marvel? I don't even know.
Also, when it showed like, I very clearly don't care anymore. You're just trying to pump out shit. Like, I already had like nerd culture is so fucked. Like American nerd culture with like comics and all that kind of stuff. Because I already had like this shit happen with Marvel and stuff, and I already had this shit happen with fucking Star Wars. You wouldn't tell it from my modern day persona, but I used to be like the biggest Star Wars fan of all time. And I had Star Wars paraphernalia and all that shit. What lost me on the series was it wasn't the sell to Disney. It was the fact that Disney nuked the whole extended universe and said only the stuff that we say is real. This is our toy box. You are only allowed to play with the toys our way. Because before that, what was really cool about Star Wars and what I really liked and what made me really appreciate like art as a medium, it's weird to say that Star Wars made me appreciate art as a medium, because if you look at Star Wars nowadays, it's literally just like fucking slop for the consumer. But Star Wars back then made me appreciate art as a medium, because what Star Wars did back in the day was if anybody had a cool idea and said, hey, I want to tell a story in the Star Wars universe, they mailed George Lucas and said, hey, can I write a book? And he'd say, yeah, sure, go do it. Like he didn't care. He didn't care if people did stuff in the Star Wars universe. And that was what was so cool about it, is that it was kind of like a proto death to the author, where he released those first 3 movies and then just said, go off. Like everyone can write whatever they want, can do whatever they want. And sure, there was like fucking garbage out there, but there was also really great stuff that people wrote and drew and all that stuff. And like the original, like the Vader comics are all fantastic and like all that stuff. Like some of the really old stuff that's just like really great. And the fandom basically decided what was canon from that point. And so like the whole Star Wars fandom was like, we think this is really cool. We think this is really cool. You know, this book is cool. And this is what's canon. Like these are the force powers that exist in the universe, because there have been stories written that involve these force powers that, you know, and instead nowadays it's like, the force jump was used by Luke in the thingy. And if like, here's my Wikipedia page about, breast milk, because Luke drank milk in episode 8 of a titty of a monster. And it's like, the series is so fucking decrepit now. It's like it used to be this huge like fandom repository back even like right before it was sold to Disney, where like even after those second tiers of movies were like liquid ass, other people who were artists understood what George Lucas was going for, so they took his ideas and molded them into stories that were interesting, like the Clone Wars series and like all these other like
the Clone Wars series. There were a ton of books about like some of the connective tissue that was missing from the prequels.
Yeah, and like
that were really good.
Like I mentioned, the Vader comics, which were like an explanation of Vader right after he got turned into Darth Vader, like what was going through his mind. He almost went back to the light side in those comics, and like then he like steeled himself to the dark side. And it's like such a cool, interesting little like vignettes of like what happens to these characters, where George Lucas had this vision and he failed because of many reasons, you know, similar to Oda that we mentioned before. People didn't want to say no to him, among other things.
God, Lucas, hire an editor, please.
And he failed for those reasons, and people picked up the pieces of that failure and said, we can make something interesting out of this. And they did. And that was how the fandom worked back then. And that was what was so cool to me. And what got me so interested in art was the fact that this guy created this series and then let other people, you know, expand upon it. You know, he created this world and then let other people do what they wanted with it. And that was so cool to me. And then he sold it to Disney for billions of dollars. And
That's dead now. So
yeah, and it's like Disney keeps an iron grip on it, doesn't let anyone touch it that they don't want to, but also they're not going to go to bat for any of it. Like, if anything is like particularly impossible, they either drop it or forget it, or like immediately course correct.
Or we'll have the genuine the guy who made it through, like the guy who made the original season of The Mandalorian. He was allowed free reign of his season, of that first season, to do whatever he wanted, which always fucking amazes me because he had Baby Yoda in it. Now, if you look at shit today with Baby Yoda, there's so much.
The child?
Whatever, who the fucking cares? If you look at shit today with Baby Yoda, there's so many different like baubles and bits and whatever and add shit for Baby Yoda. If you'll notice, after the season 1 of Mandalorian dropped and Baby Yoda was revealed, there was none of that shit. You know why? Because he didn't fucking tell Disney that Baby Yoda was in his series. He didn't say anything to them. He just made the series, had full creative control, and did whatever the fuck he wanted to. And it was fucking amazing. That's what was so great about Mandalorian season 1. And then you know what they did in season 2? They said, "Oh, this is really popular." Instead of what you did last season, where you just did a bunch of little vignettes about this guy's adventures through the galaxy, let's instead have Ahsoka Tano show up, and let's have Luke Skywalker show up, and let's have Boba Fett show up, all his advertisements for our fucking slop. And let's turn the show into a fucking shit show. And that's why I fucking hate modern Star Wars. It's so ass. Like,
yeah,
fucking liquid detritus. Old Star Wars was so good. It was such a fucking great community and fandom, and I loved it. And now it's something else, you know? It's like how...
Yeah, and part of me was so tempted to, like, watch the Obi-Wan show when it came out. Because I'm like, you know, Obi-Wan, especially, like, a prequel era Obi-Wan, like, that character is just someone I really, really like. Thankfully, I stopped myself, though.
Ewan McGregor is a very good actor. He's very good in the role. That doesn't save it, though, is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, Ewan McGregor nails it. He's great. It doesn't save the show itself. It's just like member berries for people. And the thing is, they can do member berries well. Like, not in the Ahsoka show, but in the Rebels show. The Rebels show is kind of ass. Not even kind of, it's ass. But they have moments in it where it's like Ahsoka meeting Anakin again, where it's like they have this moment where, you know, you see behind the mask and you see like Anakin's there, and it's like there's this moment, a real heart to heart before Anakin like steals himself again as Darth Vader, and it's like this powerful moment in the middle of this show for children. And it's like those creative moments stick through. There's some people in there that still care about this series, that are working in the industry, and they give a shit. And it's like, we'll see if whatever happens with that, you know. Nothing, probably. Yeah. You know, it'll continue to be slop for the rest of history, and I'll be an old man complaining about old Star Wars.
Absolutely nothing. Saturday.
I miss old Star Wars. Because, you know, it really was. It was great, and it made me really appreciate art.
It's all right, Grandpa.
It made
Let's get you to bed.
It made me appreciate two things. It made me appreciate art and like the artistic like kind of medium itself, where like anyone can just kind of like create things if they have an idea. And it made me appreciate death of the author, which is something that we violently need in society today. Death of the author is one of the greatest things that could ever come.
You know what? Let's let some of those authors actually. Let's let some of those authors actually die. Maybe.
Like J.K. Rowling, I'm not even talking about her actually dying, which would be a benefit to society. But what I'm saying is, you know,
I know.
If she shut the fuck up and didn't talk about like how wizards shit in their own cloaks and then fucking teleported away.
Okay, listen. Listen, I'm gonna stand up for that. That is the one thing I will defend her on. That is. Listen, that is 100% the best thing she's ever said about the Harry Potter series.
Or about how she rewrote.
Because if you told me, listen, if you told me that there were wizards in 18th century England, they 100% would just do that.
Okay, well, how about she turning one of the established characters gay? And then making him have a gay love affair with the Sirius equivalent of Hitler.
See, that would be great. Right up until the moment where she has to make the movie, and then they don't do it.
What about Hermione was always supposed to be black, according to her quote parentheses described as white skin in the book?
I actually love that because there's a whole subplot in the books about Hermione fighting to end slavery, and everyone makes fun of her for it. And I think that if she was black, that would make the book so much funnier. Oh yeah, you forgot about that, didn't you?
I never read the book, so I don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah,
I'm
probably better for you.
But it's one of the prime examples of where death of the author would really benefit, because people who are fans of the series could actually continue to be fans of the series to this day instead of having to boycott it because they support a trans person or trans opposing person, basically. So yeah, death of the author, I'm a big proponent of. I think once the series ends, it is out of the author's hands. It is into the hands of the viewers. And they should get to do what they want with it. That's my big opinion, which is obviously opposed to media conglomerates who like to make a lot of money. So,
yeah. I mean, honestly, no. The authors can still do stuff. They can still do.
No, I mean the authors can obviously still do stuff, and they can still be like, if fans ask questions, they can still like clarify, and like if they want to create something in the future and that like counterpoints some fandom stuff, like they can go off. Like obviously they are the highest authority on the thing that they made, but at the same time, when it gets released, it's no longer your thing anymore. You know what I mean? Like once you've released it, it's the collective consciousness's thing. It's not your thing anymore. It's not just your toy. You've given the toy to everyone. Now everyone gets to play with the toy. So, just my opinion.
Yeah.
That's why it's always weird when like game developers get mad that people make mods for their games. It's like, shut the fuck up.
It's like, why are you complaining?
These are the most passionate people about your fucking game. Like, and you're mad about it.
Yeah, the only time that people who mod or hack video games are a problem is if they're ruining it for other people who are also playing the video game.
Pretty much. It's just weird. It's just weird. Death of the author, the fact that it's not like a widely accepted thing to me is wild. Like the fact that people are like, no, like the author should have full artistic integrity for 90 years after their death. Like, huh? I don't know about that, man.
I think a big part of it too is the like is that sense that a lot of people have of like everything is something to solve. That a lot of fandom types have. And when everything is like a puzzle to solve, a lot of times you do start looking at the box. And for a lot of people, that box is the author. So it does lead you to this sense of like, gotta go back to the source, gotta look at the intent.
Well, and that's fair and true. And I get it. Like, I get it. I agree with that sentiment as well, where it's like the author's intent should be understood. But at the same time, when an author releases something and they try to get an intent across and it's misconstrued in some way, but it's not like misconstrued as like a far-right rally point or something like that, like an extremist rally point.
Yeah.
It's instead misconstrued as someone understanding the media in a different way. They're like, oh, these are the themes that I got from it. These are the themes that like resonated with me. And the author's like, well, I didn't really make that like that. And they're like, well, okay, who fucking cares? Like, like it's
no, that's what I mean. Is that like for a lot of fandom types, it turns into this like trying to solve it for a correct answer.
Yeah.
And that is like that kind of feeds into that feedback loop of like, okay, we're going back to the author. And I think J.K. Rowling is like directly responsible for a lot of that, actually. Not entirely. It's not like it's solely her fault, but like
a big through line between Harry Potter and Tumblr, early Tumblr fandoms. I feel like you can feel the same DNA spread throughout there.
Yeah. It's sad. I understand some of the thing, and like I think for me, as like an adult who wants to enjoy things and also talk about things, I've kind of adopted a framework that is like partially stolen from the YouTuber TB Skyen, where it's like, you have different ways to read things. So you have like where you can have different readings, and you can kind of like break things into this. Like you can do like a power scaling reading where you're like, okay, who's stronger than who? You can do like a diet, what I like to call when I go into like fan theory, I'm usually talking about like, okay, let's do like a diegetic material analysis reading. Like, what are the actual mechanics at play in this show? Stuff like that. Where like you can still have all these different types of readings. Like, okay, like what is the secret author intent? And I think it would be more helpful if more people could.
Reading. That's don't do that one.
I mean, it's fun to do in like moderation.
I think the issue is when you start posting about it online. That's when you should stop.
Yeah.
This character is stronger than this character. Oh, shut up.
It's like, it's kind of sad. Partially, it's like unsurprising that the power scaling community on YouTube is like so disgustingly toxic, but it's also entirely predictable.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I kind of miss the days when someone could go onto like, an anime message board and be like, hey, who would win in a fight between like Goku and Ichigo? And then you have like 1,000 pages of passionate discussion.
Yeah, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The issue is like when people are just absolute fucking toxic cunts about it.
Yeah,
like
where they'll like get into fights and start doxing people, or they'll come into a conversation that's not about that and derail it to make it about that.
Yeah. Well, they'll just come into the conversation and be like,
Goku beats Sonic, right? Or like stuff like that, or like, oh, Saitama one-shot them, right? And it's like, who cares? Nobody's asking you. Like, we get it. You're funny. You're hilarious. But the
only
issue...
important power scaling question for One Punch Man is who would win in a fight between Bugs Bunny and Saitama?
Or like Popeye, yeah. Come on. And it's one of those things where like that is annoying, but even that's dealable with. The worst part for me, this isn't even relegated to the power scaling community. This is relegated to literally every community that exists these days. Is a modern we're talking modern issues here. Concern trolling. You know what I say what it may mean when I say concern trolling.
Let's go over to make sure we both have the same definition.
So for me, concern trolling is when you go online and somebody's being absolutely disingenuous with you, and they're being like a prick. And you go online and you're just like having a conversation, and this person who's being disingenuous starts like pretend concern, like to an extent where they might even think they're genuinely convincing themselves that they're concerned for you, but it's really just to be a absolute prick to you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's the most annoying shit. And when that shit shows up in every community, including the power scaling one, it's so fucking annoying. Because this person genuinely believes what they're saying is like a genuine like sentiment. Like they're like, oh, I feel really sorry for you must not be able to comprehend that as well. Like it's like, shut the fuck up. Like that's the power scaling equivalent, but there's like obviously equivalents for different communities where it's like,
yeah,
that kind of thing is the most annoying shit in the world.
Yeah. Man, talking to people sucks. Let's burn it all down.
So true. Why am I even talking to you? Hello? Like, what the fuck? Talking sucks, man.
Yeah. This is the kind of guy who's telling you to go read Sleepy Princess and the Demon Castle.
I know, dude. He's crazy. Insane.
Listen. The Demon King and the Main hero
Bro's
characters
still explaining it, thinking I'm gonna
the
give it a
main
chance,
ship.
bro. He thinks I'm gonna give it a chance.
Listen. The main ship in the series is the Demon King and the hero.
About it like I'm gonna read it. Holy, bro doesn't know. Bro knows there's no shot. Like,
man, you're really not gonna read one of the best mangas of our generation.
Cory,
like,
I'm
are you
concerned
okay?
for you that you think that I'm gonna. I think you might have some issues thinking. I'm worried for you. Have you been to a therapist recently to talk about your issues with the Sleepy Princess?
Okay, think of any conversation you've ever had with me and tell me if you think I have a therapist. Second question, do you think I need one?
Don't answer that one. That's all I could say. He gets real mad if you answer that one, chat.
Oh, really? What's your answer?
Popeye's modern issues. Everyone always goes Popeye when they talk in the power scaling community.
Oh, okay. You know what? I actually did have something I want to talk about today that I forgot to talk about. Dark Souls 2.
Okay.
Do you have the mental headspace to get into some Dark Souls 2 takes?
Depends.
Okay, so I played Scholar.
Yeah.
Or no, I played Base.
Okay.
First thing, I know I kind of said it to you in text, but I wanna stress to you just how annoying it was to get a copy of Base Dark Souls 3, okay? Like, I'm checking every used game store, every GameStop, every, like, actual used game store, every time, like, I'm by them for it.
You have a...
Eventually?
You have a PS3?
Yeah.
Could just lent you mine, like...
Yeah, I could, but I also wanted to have it for collector's purposes, and I wasn't in that much of a rush to play it. So I go... Eventually, I find a PS3 copy.
Alright.
But it was the Scholar edition of the PS3. Spoiler alerts, this will upset me later. Alright. Then we go to the one, to the store in the mall. It's like an hour away, so it's a bit of a drive. They do have the original copy of Dark Souls 2, but it's the Xbox 360 version. Which I do not have an Xbox. So, out of luck there. Then we go to a convention to see... father-in-law wanted to go see the Optimus Prime original voice actor.
Okay.
And so we saw him and some other people. Had a good time. Checked out one of the, like, used game store, like, kiosks they have there. And I finally find a PS3 copy. And it was only, like, $15, so it wasn't, like, super mall scalped. So I finally got it. Nice. And then, while I'm playing through it, I'm looking up stuff about it, and I find out that the PS3 Scholar Edition has all the DLCs included, but it does not have the Scholar of the First Sin location updates. So it's still based Dark Souls 2, but it just comes with the DLC.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah, so I 100% should have just gotten that greatest hit Scholar version when I saw it. That being said, in terms of the Scholar version versus the original, I think there's only like maybe 2 areas in the original that I think are worse than the Scholar version, and even then it's not by much. And I think the worst thing about the Scholar version is that there's like 2 or 3 runbacks that they turn from like meh to dreadful.
Okay.
The absolute worst one is the Pursuer boss fight runback. In the original, it's like...
Are you talking about when you do it in the... Which one?
So, like, the actual boss fight version of the Pursuer, where... the Scholar version. Or, well, so, like, in the original version, so when you, so not, like, where you fight him in the middle, like, on your way to the last giant, but it's, like, after the last giant when you go to fight the Pursuer in, like, the boss fight setting, like, where there's the ballista there.
Yeah.
The run back in the Scholar version is absolutely dreadful. Like, it is near impossible to get there without killing every single enemy on the way, because it's all the friggin' knights from the Lost Bastille that are there.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just like, it is impossible to just get around them at all. So like that run back, especially because that's early in the game, so it's possible that they don't have the binding band yet to keep their health up. They're not going to be willing to use human effigies that early in the game because they don't know how rare they'll be yet. And the Pursuer is also like a pretty hard fight generally, especially like when you have low damage output because you're early on. So like that, the Pursuer run back was the least amount of fun I had in Dark Souls 2 in the Scholar Edition. It was so terrible. And I think that's probably a big reason that a lot of people don't like Scholar, is that run back alone.
I mean, the only thing about Scarlet is fucking ass.
Yeah. And then there's a couple areas that are definitely noticeably worse. But there's also a lot of changes that I find interesting. One in particular is that sometimes Scholar is actually nicer than base Dark Souls 2.
Okay.
The main example of this I can think of is that Macduff's Ember is findable in the Lost Bastille in Scholar version, but in base Dark Souls 2, you have to go all the way over to the Iron Keep before you can use Macduff at all.
Okay.
And I think that's a really interesting choice for them to have changed. It's definitely a lot nicer for people who are like replaying the game and want to like try out certain builds. Because I think that's a difference of like 3 bosses to get to Infusion, I think.
I think, yeah.
But yeah, so that's I think that's the main like nice thing about, or like nice to the player thing. Scholar also adds in a few interesting like I don't know if I'd call them lore details, but like nice little mechanical storytelling touches, like the hollows that are fighting the petrified giant in Forest of the Last Giants. That's a really nice detail that's original to the Scholar Edition, which I personally found really interesting. I'm also a little undecided on... So Scholar will spread the enemies out a lot more between areas. Like, you know, a lot of enemies have areas that clearly they're meant to come from, but, like, they bleed out between the other ones because, like, the whole thing is that, Vendrick was a imperial colonizer, and so he kind of, like, he conquered, and then he, like, implemented all of these things that he took control over into his kingdom, and so that's part of the reason why everything is kind of, like, interconnected and bleeding out.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm undecided on whether the fact that the Scholar version spreads everything out so much more between different areas. I'm undecided whether I like the way it does it better, or the way that it's a lot more subdued in the base game, where like every every time you see an enemy that's out of place in the base game, it really feels like something is wrong or something is like leaked out in a way. And that makes Drainlight Castle hit a lot harder when you do start seeing the way Vendrick has like assembled all these pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like not really a criticism of either one. That's kind of like you could kind of go either way, and I think it's really interesting to talk about.
Yeah. I definitely feel like I like the original's version better, but I get what you're getting at.
Yeah, I do too personally, but like I can see like both of them. There were a couple other little details, but I think I've forgotten them. I meant to write them down. Also, really funny that it took me 2 playthroughs to realize what the point of a Creighton and Pate storyline was.
Oh, you never got to the end of it, did I?
So I got to the end of it originally, and originally I chose to help Creighton.
Okay.
Just because Pate just seems so untrustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
But now I realize that, oh no, actually, they're both terrible people, and you just stepped into the middle of a lover spat.
Well.
And the actual answer is to kill one of them, and then after you get the stuff from the one you saved, then kill them.
Yep.
And that's the most moral thing you can do in that situation.
Yep.
I do still really like that, and I love Dark Souls 2's characters so much. Freaking Laddersmith, Dilladen, Leonard Raston, his daughter, just God.
Oh yeah, you like his daughter.
I also finally went through.
Fucking freak.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Fucking large chest ahead.
Also, the fact that Audia doesn't show up at random and just start like spitting nonsense at you for absolutely no reason makes makes the original version better by default.
A million times better. It's not even like I hate Audia, but like holy, like they really were like. Miyazaki was really pissed that they made Dark Souls 2. Apparently, it was like I have this character show up and just fucking blabber to them randomly at random times. Like it's like bro just yaps. I'm a person who loves story and will just like sit and fucking like read shit or listen to shit for like hours on end. I fucking hate Aldrich so much.
But only if it's interesting, right?
Yeah. Like it's like Aldrich is such a fucking boring piece of shit when he appears. Like when you talk to Aldrich like at the end, that's interesting conversation. Like the stuff that he talks to you about there. But like when you're talking to Aldrich when he randomly pops up and like says like, "Oh, are you jerking off right now?" It's like, bro, I don't want to talk to you. Like, like,
yeah, especially because like, I don't know. I think Aldia was a more interesting character before he actually appears.
Mm-hmm. Like talking to him at the end when he's like about to try to beat your ass. That's fun because he gets into some meat and potatoes there.
Yeah. Maybe one of these days I'll do a playthrough where I actually get to fight him. Because I forgot to fight Vendrick before I fought Nishandra.
Mm.
Oh yeah, also, I did a Daggers run this time, so like a Dex run. And it was so much fun in a way that... So I've done 3 runs so far, so I've fought, or like done 3 types of runs so far. So I did Spears, I did Daggers, and I did Greatswords. Or Ultra Greatswords, I mean, yeah, no Greatswords in this house, what's the point even? When you have an Ultra Greatsword to use.
So true.
But yeah, and I really like how different the game is between those different playstyles. And it's honestly like a blast. Like, I think the one thing that I really missed from my Spear playthroughs, and if I do another Spear playthrough, I'm definitely going to work on like actually going for the most amount of damage possible, like with like the old Leo Rain and stuff like that. To get like that extra counter hit damage, but like, man, just putting the fire buff on the weapon, or putting the fire paper on my +10 dagger, and then just shredding through the Duke's Deer Freya's health. Like, man, that'll water your crops.
Sorry, what are you doing to my crops?
Watering them.
Don't want anywhere near my Pokemon, bro. I saw what you're saying in the join chat.
Yeah, so Dark Souls 2, I think I like the base version better. I do not dislike the Scholar version as much as I expected now that I've compared them. In fact, I think a lot of the differences are interesting. Oh, also the touch that the spiders are afraid of the torch in Scholar, which wasn't in the base game.
That's fair.
I do find that pretty interesting.
That's not in the base game? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, no, that's not in the base game. You know, I even tried it after I like threw my head against the Freya a couple times. I'm like, okay, let's try this. I'll actually do it this time, and then it just didn't work because the spiders aren't afraid of it in base Dark Souls too.
Yeah, it is. Oh, that's cool. We could add that in Scholar. I didn't realize.
Yeah. Also, unlike base Dark Souls 1, the PS3 version is not noticeably worse than the PS4 version. Like, there's no like Blighttown area or so like there's no Blighttown area where like the frame rate just takes like an absolute huge massive hit compared to the PS4 version.
Yeah.
And there's no Lost Izalith area where like it is just unplayably ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I cannot begin to tell you. Oh yeah, we haven't streamed since I did my Dark Souls 1 replay with the strength build. That was also really fun. Replaying Dark Souls was a blast, even though I didn't finish it because I could not be bothered to go through some of those endgame areas.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the difference in Lost Izalith between the remake or the remaster and original is like night and day. Like Lost Izalith in remastered was beautiful. It was one of my favorite areas. And it was like one of like the most fun places to explore when you first get there with like the orange charred rain. But in the original, it's like you can't see anything. There's this ugly red glow everywhere. You just die for no reason. It's terrible.
It's been a while since I played it, so I don't know if I remember exactly.
What is the community consensus on the Dark Souls remaster? Are they generally okay with it?
Bad.
Bad.
It is like I think nowadays it's like okay to play it, but
oh my god.
If you have the original and you have it working, like actually not like just the original and that's liquid ass, then I think that's just what you want to do. On the PC, I should say.
Bro, you want to come over here and see what I'm looking at?
Oh shit, you get a shiny.
What ball should I go for? Oh wait, I could save in soft reset and try to do it in like a cool ball. No, that was miserable when I was trying to do it to Beldum. I just won't do that.
Well, Beldum's also like the hardest catching Pokemon in the game.
Yeah, that's true. Man, soft resetting to do that was so bad. Did you watch that video I posted where the game broke?
Yeah. So bad.
Alright, we'll give it one try in a level ball.
Okay. Well, I'm in this encounter with a Venonat.
Oh, it's a shiny Rhyhorn, by the way.
Rhyhorn. Just a natty shiny.
He's like he actually looks pretty good because he's like a mud brown.
I said natty, like you just got it. Like there's no.
Oh yeah. Just natty, no outbreak, no nothing.
Use outbreak juice or nothing.
Yeah, just out of nowhere, just found him. Level ball, level ball, level ball.
I don't even see that you're.
Yeah.
I see you standing here.
Oh wait, oh that's right. You can't see the Pokemon always, can you?
I think I have to be in the area when you started for it to work.
Makes sense. Yeah, so shiny Rhyhorn.
There you go. What is he evolving?
You ever gonna finish the plot for this game's Rhydon and then Rhyperior?
Right on these nuts.
You got me. I can say for certain that you got me. Man, I'm not excited to get a new car tomorrow. I mean, it'll be nice if I can have a car that runs better, but also, like, having to have a car payment is something I'm not excited for.
But on my ride to my horn. I'm not sure about that one, Chief. You cannot submit that one to the Ligma Council.
What's the Ligma Council?
If you don't know, then you don't deserve to be in it.
Oh, that's fair.
Where the fuck you go?
Me?
Fly off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can't fly yet. Haha.
Sticking near
Oh, that must have made looking for the Ditto even worse.
I don't know if I'd say that. It's not like traversing the area is hard, really.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't know what's better, so I don't know that it's worse. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
So true. I've only lived my life, you
So
know,
true.
in this way. So it's like I can't tell what the other way's like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you mean those shadows aren't real? That's reality right there.
What's up with the Tetris blocks? We just like to play Tetris here on the stream. You know how it is.
It's just, you know, how it goes.
Big fans of Tetris around here.
Anyway, so what have you been running for Red H?
Yeah, I was planning on making a Versary team, whatever the fuck thing I was talking about earlier. The hell is it called?
Oh, a Scovillain team?
No. Oh, that would be hot. Haha, get it? Haha. The fucking fish I was talking to you about, spike fish.
Oh, Veluza.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. Get the most obscure thing I can.
You should.
No, I was thinking of running Rillaboom and maybe some Annihilate. And,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe some Torkoal. Torkoal with
It's like
Lilligant, perhaps.
It's like Lilical, Mouseape, Dondozo.
Yeah.
You know, I actually,
just
you know, after you talked about it earlier, actually,
that people don't really think about, you know.
Yeah, those underrated mons. I actually do think I might try to build with Scovillain later, just because, without the Paradox Pokemon that just outspeed you for nothing, like, Choice Specs, Terrifier, Burning Jealousy, and the Sun is like...
No, it's a great sweeper. The issue is it has no bulk. So it's like...
Yeah,
if you don't sweep, then you're fucked. And also, like,
yeah.
Sun is
it's
such
a little...
an unreliable resource.
Yeah, especially with the best team in the format right now being Rain.
Isn't Pelipper being run a lot right now as well?
Yeah, because it's Pelipper or Chaladon is one of the main... So funny that the main Rain Sweeper right now is not a Swift Swimmer, because they're all kind of bad.
Aracuda's in the game. Right?
Rip Kindra. Barraskewda is in the game, but he's not strong enough without the Choice Band, and Intimidate is everywhere. So like Intimidate and Fake Out are everywhere, so like it's kind of hard. He's washed. He's washed, bro. Honestly, the main team I've been having success with is actually a Volcarona team. Volcarona's been seeing a lot of play too.
Yeah, I heard. That's part of the reason why I was excited about low kicks, is because people were talking about it and like, why do people care about low kicks? And they're like, finally a bug type other than Volcarona that can play competitive.
Yeah, because I'm like I'm actually running it's like Volcarona with like a sun mode on my Murkrow, but like the main goal is like Murkrow Ursaluna, so I can Tailwind and then Terra Ground Earthquake. And then I've also gotten Ndidi Gardevoir for Psychic Spam as like a side mode.
Very cringe.
Yeah, very cringe.
Yeah, I think you should get a Hatterene in there instead.
Absolutely not. I mean, actually, Hatterene would probably be better for the team because it's the same typing, but it adds an extra Trick Room on.
Yeah,
but
Hatterene is just like better. Just fucking annoying. There's a weird as fucking Skarmory walk around on the ground like that.
Oh yeah, it's like you're so not used to seeing Skarmory be like an actually interesting to look at Pokemon.
It's just like floating in the air all the time, like a T-pose. So what the hell are you doing? Look at him. It's kind of nice, kind of cool. High Rogue Sweat? I don't want that, brother.
Tyrode Sweat? Me too, buddy. Alright, so you got any other topics of conversation for today? I mean, we can talk about Luigi Mansion 2 if you want.
I think I'm good on that. I think I knew all I need to know about Luigi's Mansion 2 after it came out and I played it.
How much did you play? Did you play the whole thing?
I beat the whole thing, I'm pretty sure. Me and Kyle played a lot of it, the multiplayer stuff, so.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I remember I released 3DSs, I'm pretty sure. Because I had that multiplayer mode that's like kind of ass.
I think the worst part, it's like the first two mansions were like pretty good. But like between like the mission mode, as opposed to just having like explorable spaces that you can go through, which would have been so much more engaging. The way everything is just pieced out, it's just like so boring. I kind of mentioned it in a side before we started streaming, but me and my wife have been trying to play it, and we'll just like, let's do this Terror Raid. But me and my wife are trying to play it, and our eyes just keep rolling into the back of our heads.
Oh, you're talking about that possession feature they added in Luigi's Mansion 2, where you get possessed by...
Yeah, it like literally takes control of you, makes you put down the controller and do something else.
You're possessed by a ghost, and you have to get rid of it. What do we bring to this bitch? Bug? We're bringing fire?
Yeah, fire. Fire's what you're wanting. Or rock.
So true.
Scene, it's a arms race.
Boy, Terra battle. This is my eyes roll in the back of my head. To this shit. We should have just hopped on Sword and Shield and done
Honestly, that would have been fun. Man, I love Sword and Shield.
This is max rate battles. I'm not sitting around like just walking around the area for like a couple hours looking for shinies, basically. It's a little bit more engagement.
Yeah, like the BBQs are fun, but it's like they're missing just like a little bit. There's just like a little bit of spice missing. And I think the raids, if they were any good, would add that spice. But they're not. Hey, this is a bug guide, not a grass type. Why did I bring Slowking? Oh, it doesn't matter.
Oh jeez, we had to gather around such a crew. To rationalize your talk about this such a crew. Okay, I'd like to move, thank you.
Who has the terrestrialization?
I hate this fucking thing. I hate this system.
Me too.
It's so bad. It's dead already. Thanks, game. It's dead already. Can we move on? Come on. Come on. Just gonna sit here staring.
Now imagine how frustrating this is when you have an actual down to the wire like 1v1 7-star raid.
Yeah, I will catch just because you're a bug type. I will catch you in a netball. Get it because it's water and it's bug terrestrialization, so.
Yeah, so it's like a water bug type that's actually a water bug type, unlike a water bug type that's not a water bug type, you know?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, you know.
I gotta put respect on.
I don't know either, so.
I gotta put respect on Bug Spider's name. Liquidates a powerful
Bug
tool.
spiders? Oh man, I love Arachnid. You know what? That's what I should build with. Why am I not using Arachnid right now?
Arachnid is very useful. It has a lot of useful little trixies.
Yeah, I love Arachnid. Man, I missed a Lysopod though. Now that is the goat.
The goat!
Yeah, so I think I am ready to call it. We have complained our little hearts out.
Yeah. A little bit too much.
No such thing as too much when it comes to complaining.
No such thing as too much when you're having fun.
I said like
Ha 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 ha.
SpongeBob meme face, right?
Alright. Any last minute little things from me?
Oh, I meant to if we're just doing last minute little things. I've been getting a little more excited for Kingdom Hearts 4, I gotta say. I've been deep diving. I've been deep diving into Kingdom Hearts lore a little bit, and I'm like, man, there's
Fellas, we're losing them.
I'm like, man, the Kingdom Hearts 4 might be good.
We're losing them. We've actually lost him.
But I'll leave you with those thoughts. You can think on them. I have more to talk about. I guess a channel that I really like. I don't know the real name is it, but the real name of it is. But they're doing a thing called Game Breakdown, and they finally are doing. They did like Sly Cooper 2, I think, and then Super Mario Sunshine, and they did like really in depth where they go through like each level and they go like talk about like all the hidden stuff in it and all that stuff, like supplementary materials. And they just did the first episode in Kingdom Hearts 1. Where they started with Destiny Islands. It was over an hour long.
Game Breakdown, Indonesia.
Sort of Game Breakdown, Destiny Islands is the most recent thing. I forget what the channel's called, but channel itself, but that's what the series is called. Yeah, it's a pretty small channel. So, yeah, I might have to link it, to be honest.
Breaking Down Destiny Islands, a Kingdom Hearts deep dive?
Yes. And what's the name of the channel?
2C Phoenix?
Yes, that's it. That's it. Yeah. No, he does. I mean, you might want to check out the. I don't know if you're a fan of Sly, but his Sly one's really good, and then his Super Mario Sunshine one is great as well. Where he just kind of goes through.
I am a pretty big fan of Sly.
Yeah,
I did play through. I mean, I never played 3, but I played through like half of 2 and had a blast.
Yeah, it's a great breakdown. And now he started on Kingdom Hearts, and I was like, oh man, I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts. You know, excited to get some stuff. And he wasn't really like, he talked about some stuff in Kingdom Hearts 1 and like the characters' interactions and stuff, and like how solidly they like nail like the trio at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1. And then somebody in the comments was like, actually, despite the fact that you were mentioning like how solidly they nailed, you didn't mention like some of the supplementary material talks about like some of the in-depth thoughts like behind like the different characters' actions and like how Riku like thinks about the situation and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, I've never read the Kingdom Hearts like supplementary material, like the manga and stuff before, but like now I'm kind of like, maybe I should. Maybe I should, because it's like they were talking about how like Riku, like he has different thoughts, and like one of them's like how he wishes it was either only Kairi or Sora on the island, so he didn't have to like fight between their attention essentially. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
It's so funny, but also like it makes perfect sense. Like,
and like
I hear that, and I'm just like, oh yeah.
Like how he doesn't even understand why he made fun of Sora with the Paipu fruit and Kairi. Like he doesn't even understand why he did that. Like he just did it, and he's like just to like egg him on or something. And he's like, why the fuck did I do that? Like, and like I was like, man. Like I never really thought about like their character motivations behind the scenes, but like now I feel like I have to read the manga so I can kind of understand it more, because it feels like it goes.
Honestly,
into
you're kind of
really
making.
well.
You're kind of making me want to read it now.
Yeah, dude, I was like, it was very surprised. I was like, what the hell? Like, and I know the manga's good from what people have told me over the years, but I just never read it. I didn't have the means to when I was younger, and I just lost interest in the series as I got older. So I was like, maybe I'll check out the manga and like see what's up with that.
Maybe it's time.
Because yeah, I've heard, especially like Riku's motivations are apparently really extrapolated upon, and like why he does what he does. And there's like
That sounds very interesting.
Like, you know, at the end of Destiny Islands where he's like beckoning Sora into like the darkness or whatever, and then like Sora finds the keyblade or whatever. It's like in that moment, like he like it doesn't tell you, but like Riku and Kairi are already on the island, and like it's because Riku like brought her to the island earlier and like was purposely trying to open the door to get like you guys to leave, like to get the way out for you guys. And then like things went to shit, and then he was like trying to bring Sora because he's just like, I just want Sora to myself, like he's being selfish and stuff. And like I'm like, damn, I need to read these mangas, bro. Like I need to check out the see what I'm missing out on. But anyway, that was just some last thoughts. Because I've been thinking about Kingdom Hearts recently. Some bad thoughts in my brain.
Yeah, I might have to dive back into it. Who knows?
A dive to the heart.
But thank you very much for. Thank you very much for coming on with me. This is a blast. I miss you.
Yeah, I miss you too.
I'm sure we'll have lots more to talk about Juju and One Piece in the future.
Well, you know, once Hunter x Hunter comes out, we'll get on our schedule of weekly. Weekly streams.
And then we'll have then once Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out, we can have our dedicated Data Sora discussion.
Yeah, no, it's you're behind the times, old man. It's fictional Sora now. That one pissed you off.
No. Listen. The fictional Sora and Data Sora are dating.
Yeah, they're different entities. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But you know, don't piss off fictional Data Sora.
Fictional Data Sora is the final boss.
No, he's the final boss of Re-Recoded. Is this... Did I... Okay, no. That was just weird. I threw at my Gallade, and he like didn't want to fight a Scrafty. And I was like, is that a shiny Scrafty? But then he I threw him back.
Oh yeah, no. If the geometry is a little weird, they'll just give up.
But he did like the sweat thing. That's why I was like, wait, what the fuck? Is this a shiny? I threw it out again and he killed it. And I was like, okay, just being a weirdo. It's hard to tell with that Scrafty line.
Oh, I am yawning out of my gourd.
So true. You're yawning out of your gourd. Did I love it when you you infected your friend group with like a phrase?
When it's like it's not even relevant and it comes out.
You just said I'm yawning out of my gourd. I'm like, yes, dude, I've infected my friend group with
That's all right. You want to feel old with that saying? I saw on the internet somebody used that phrase. It was out of my gourd. And it was Adam Conover from Adam Ruins Everything on Twitter.
Who?
You don't know who Adam Conover is?
I think this is a you feeling old moment, buddy.
maybe. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for everyone who was in the chat.
Thank you, Adam Conover, for coming into my chat and speaking to me.
Yeah. Good thing we didn't have any Land of the Lustrous fans in the chat. That would have been embarrassing.
Yeah.
Anyway, buy a stream.
See ya. Thank you for coming by. Later.
Thank you.